Okay. Number one, Alex Jones is a complete liar and puts out complete and utter 100% disinformation. He invents conspiracy theories for fun, profit, and to mislead people. Number two, Alex Jones makes very, very bad predictions on a daily basis, and they never come true. Number three, Alex Jones wants you to think he's a threat to the establishment. He faked the Bohemian Grove video. He says the government is lying about him on the internet. He even took down his own Obama deception movie. Number four, Alex Jones says a lot of incredibly stupid stuff, such as NASA was founded by Aleister Crowley, animals are going to outvote humans in some kind of new democracy, and light bulbs are spying on us. Number five, Alex's show is not really about information whatsoever. It's really about psychological tricks and cultish micromanagement of his own audience.
See, these are tricks they play on you. See, these are tricks they play on you. See, these are tricks they play on you.
Okay, so we know Alex Jones is a liar. But the question is, who is Alex Jones? Listening to Alex Jones, most people would think this is some paranoid nutjob living out in the woods in some wooden shack to an audience of about 10 people screaming about the end of the world like it's the 2012 movie. Well, the truth is, Alex Jones has a nationally syndicated radio show on over 60 stations across the country. He claims to have over 2 million radio listeners, and his documentaries have been viewed millions of times on the internet. On top of all of this, Alex Jones is frequently promoted by the mainstream media. Alex Jones has appeared on Fox News, CNN, ABC News, and others. Alex Jones hasn't just been promoted on the news. Alex Jones is also well connected in Hollywood. He's appeared on numerous entertainment and pop culture TV shows to talk not only about pop culture, but also to talk about his conspiracy theories. So the question is, why does the establishment love Alex Jones so much? What agenda does Alex Jones serve? Who does Alex Jones work for? Okay, to answer this question, let's go back to late 2009, early 2010. Deborah Medina was running for Texas governor against the incumbent Rick Perry and Kay Bailey Hutchinson. Medina was a hero of the conservative libertarian movement.
Coming up in about 25 minutes, Deborah Medina, the candidate for governor of Texas in the Republican primary against Rick Perry and Kay Bailey Hutchinson. She continues to surge in the polls. She's a Ron Paul supporter, a Audit the Feder and In the Feder, a listener to my radio show, and she's the candidate for Texas. Now we're having the fake conservative rhinos replaced with true libertarian, true constitutionalist, true Americans. So whether she wins, loses, draws, whatever, or goes into a runoff with these characters, she is there injecting real issues, and this has a national import for our listeners across the country.
A populist movement was growing. Real conservative candidates were winning pre-elections all over the country. The New World Order was going down. Deborah Medina was going to spark a movement to finally take back the United States of America.
But all over the country, pro-liberty candidates are running in the Republican Party. This is very, very exciting. I mean, the city of Austin is a criminal group. We need your help. We need you as governor. If you could become governor, and it will then be a beacon to other states, Texas leads the nation, that if you can win in Texas, then in other gubernatorial races coming up, other in the Feders, true patriots, true libertarians, true constitutionalists will have even bigger shots. That's why this race is so important to the rest of the country.
Deborah Medina was the only candidate who would support the individual, the business owner, the real American. Deborah Medina was going to eliminate the property tax.
Well, the biggest thing we have to understand is the importance of private property ownership to a free and prosperous people. We don't own property in Texas. We don't own our homes. We don't own our businesses. And the property owners along the border are being run over by trespass every day. We've got to understand.
That's right. We don't own it. We pay a rent on it. Go ahead.
Got to understand the importance of private property ownership. That means eliminating property tax in Texas, finding another way to fund school and local government.
Yeah, government's too big. I mean, we built this country without all these taxes.
And that's not all. Medina was going to push back against the federal government. She was going to spearhead the movement for local states' rights.
We need to stand up and interpose and nullify against all overreaching federal authority, and we need to begin to weed out and push the federal government out of all of the many areas of Texas that it is currently in.
And they can't even get Congress to pass laws. They are lawless even at the federal level.
Deborah Medina was going to get rid of the Federal Reserve.
Manipulating our monetary supply, which undermines our whole free market economic system. We've got to get rid of the Fed.
Deborah Medina was even going to fight the New World Order.
I have a question here from Twitter. If elected, would you continue to speak out against the New World Order?
Absolutely.
Shifting gears, I've got the printouts, different newspaper and TV polls, some 91%, the lowest 68%. Every poll saying you won the debate. The polls say you won the last debate. And we've got to get you for governor. You've got a chance to win. You're winning on all the polls. You're surging in your overall numbers. People have to call their friends, their family, call talk radio. I'm hearing talk radio is on fire with you. Folks, we have a chance, and this will send a message nationwide.
Everything was going so well. Deborah Medina was about to win. The establishment was finally going down. Deborah Medina and Alex Jones were going to bring down the New World Order. Then something strange happened.
Now we have somebody who had 4% of the vote, has no money for ad campaigns. And now she's up to, in 3 or 4 weeks, she's up to 24%. Welcome to the program, Deborah Medina. How are you?
Great. Good to be with you, Glenn.
There was a theme that ran against you, and that is you're a 9/11 truther. Do you believe the government was any way involved with the bringing down of the World Trade Centers on 9/11?
I don't have all of the evidence there, Glenn, so I'm not in a place. I have not been out publicly questioning that. I think some very good questions have been raised in that regard. There's some very good arguments, and I think the American people have not seen all of the evidence there, so I've not taken a position on that.
I think the people in America might think that might be a yes. Okay, Deborah, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and best of luck to you.
Thank you, Glenn.
You bet. Bye-bye. I think
problematic.
While I don't endorse anyone, I think I can write her off the list. Let me take another look at Kay Bailey Hutchinson if I have to. Rick, I think you and I could French kiss right now.
Let me tell you something. He's a damn handsome man.
He's a damn handsome man.
Looks good in a pair of jeans.
Wow.
He's a handsome man.
Wow.
Deborah Medina went on the Glenn Beck show and just couldn't decide whether 9/11 was an inside job or not. Glenn Beck jumped on the attack, and from here on, Deborah Medina's chances of winning were completely and utterly zero. Now, Alex Jones was very quick to jump on this. Glenn Beck was a traitor, a scumbag, an anti-American, a fake conservative. Let's listen.
He's there as a gatekeeper to be the leader of the Patriot movement, and we see him always at key moments showing he's a Benedict Arnold because it's such an example of sabotage. Glenn Beck with the Perry campaign, within 35 minutes, they already had robocalls going out that she's a 9/11 truther when I never asked her about that on air. And so they're sending in their agents like Glenn Beck to pose as one of us, so at key points, he can sabotage our movement.
Yes, what a traitorous attack on Deborah Medina. Glenn Beck is such a traitor. Now, what happened 8 days later?
Deborah Medina agrees that 9/11 truthers' beliefs are despicable. And I'm going to withdraw my support for Deborah Medina in this election if I don't hear an apology and a clarification on this. She needs to explain herself. For him to sit there and say we're despicable, we're horrible, we're evil. I'm not supposed to question that. I'm despicable to all my family listening in Dallas to the #1 talk station. I'm despicable. You agree that I'm bad? I mean, I'm despicable, and I'll show her after saying there's a lot of questions people have a right, and then I'll show her saying it's despicable. I don't like flip-flopping. I want people to do what they say, and at this point, we can't believe anything she says if she gets in office if she'll flip-flop like this. She's going to find out that who's really supporting her and that she better watch it. I just can't handle it anymore. I can't handle politicians. She did the bad thing. You understand that? We need people elected that do what they say they're going to do. I wasn't mad at her when she said, I'm not a 9/11 truther, but I support people's right. Then, a couple weeks later, there's a new Deborah Medina. It's just a dirty taste in my mouth to commit to somebody, to trust somebody, and to see this type of attack on us. I could barely even do this radio show now. I'm so angry. Ugh, disgusting. Makes me sick. We're despicable. They must not be worried now if she gets elected. That means if she ever gets any political heat, she'll just flip-flop. I'm nobody's sucker. I'm nobody's property. I'm nobody's dupe. You understand that? Now, my question to Deborah Medina is, and if she'll come on, that's fine. I'm sure they'll chicken out. I don't care. Weeks before, after Glenn Beck, I think the way those buildings fell, I have questions. Now we're a despicable, horrible cult, and I agree. And then I'm bad. Alex Jones is bad for actually being steadfast and seeing a flip-flop like this and getting angry. I want you to call Medina. Their lines have been busy. 877 We Texans. Yeah, we Texans aren't double talkers and flip-floppers and side crab walkers. That's what we're talking about, is a bunch of double-talking people. I've had it with double talk. I mean, this is unbelievable, and I'm not putting up with it. I don't know. She can retract it if she wants or clarify it. Fine. Are they just, despicable cult of dangerous scum? Absolutely. Absolutely, Mark Davis. I agree. It's ridiculous that I would even imagine to be involved with those people. And then I'm like, my God, what a betrayal. I feel betrayed. I think it was the relish. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. That's what happened. And somebody slaps me upside the head. I stand up against it. Get that straight. But again, I guess I should just say, yes, I'm despicable. I grovel to you. I'll slit my wrist for you. Anything you want. You are God. I'm not allowed to have my morals or my stands. I'm evil. I'm bad. Oh, my God, I'm despicable. I have to call these people out. Okay? That's what I do. You had to stand on principle and say, look, I agree people should be allowed to ask for an investigation. But no, we are despicable. You have attacked us, Deborah Medina. You have attacked me. So I don't want to hear I'm attacking you. You drew blood on us. You attacked us. You drew first blood. That's the way it is. I think everybody should call her campaign and email her and tell her where her support comes from and tell her you want an apology right now. Glenn Beck lost 500,000 viewers when I went after him in the last 2 weeks defending your sorry butt. What do you think's going to happen now when I come after you? Show her the power we've got. I'm sick of traitors.
Wow. Alex Jones is bashing Deborah Medina like it's David Rockefeller. Why did Alex Jones completely tank Deborah Medina's candidacy live on air? Why would Alex Jones try to destroy the constitutional, libertarian, conservative candidate? What did Deborah Medina do that was so bad? Let's listen.
To Austin, welcome gubernatorial candidate Deborah Medina. Hey, Deborah, how are you?
Good.
It is nice to have you. Let's do two things. Let's take a couple minutes and wrap up the 9/11 thing. My assertion is it would have been over by now, would have been over in a day, if after the Beck thing you'd have said, boy, I'm sorry, I messed up. I should have identified this 9/11 truther movement as the despicable paranoid cult that they are. What a horrible, hateful belief to have in your head that 9/11 was an inside job. Why didn't you do that?
Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. I laughed it off whenever he said I was a truther because I thought it was so absurd, and I should have just said no, absolutely, I'm not a truther. I think it's abundantly clear I'm not a truther. Those things happen to us, and we pick up, say, should have done that better, move on, and that's what we've done.
Then there's just one other thing that's left, because not being a truther is great. I'm thinking, of course you're not. Of course you're not. But sometimes the wisdom is defined by knowing whom to praise and whom to, quite frankly, condemn. Someone walking around with the belief that America would do this to its own people, that President Bush and those around him would slaughter our own citizens in order to justify war, is a despicable thing to believe. And if that's, and you want to be on record as agreeing with that.
Agreed, yeah.
So, all Medina said was, it's despicable to believe the government would murder people. It's not that Alex Jones is despicable. It's not that 9/11 truthers are despicable. The act of the government murdering people is despicable. That is what she said.
And every time there's real candidates about to take the states back, they'll send in their little media whore. A lot of people are waking up. A lot of people are becoming conscious. The problem is the system didn't get where it is. The power elite didn't get where they are by being stupid. And they know how to take over movements. They know the best way to control opposition is to lead it. And every time there's real candidates about to take the states back, they'll send in their little media whore.
Now look, let's think about this. Deborah Medina has appeared on Alex's radio show on multiple occasions. She was very friendly to Alex. Alex was very friendly to her. They supported each other. Does it make any sense whatsoever that Medina would be calling Alex despicable? Of course she wasn't calling Alex Jones despicable. So what's going on here? Was Alex Jones working for Rick Perry the whole time? Let's listen.
Maybe it's better to just keep Perry in, so everybody hates him more and the government gets more discredited. Maybe it's better to have a lame duck Perry in there. Because if she'll flip-flop like this, why not just have K. Belly Hutchinson and Rick Perry? And then I got it from another source who was with Rick Perry, who's a household name, earlier in the week on Wednesday, that Rick Perry's worried about three people, and so are the Republicans nationally. Alex Jones, Ron Paul, and Deborah Medina. And then I got it from another source who was with Rick Perry. And then I got it from another source who was with Rick Perry. And then I got it from another source who was with Rick Perry. They're absolute jokes. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'd probably vote for Rick Perry over the Democrats. They're that bad, ladies and gentlemen. Rick Perry's as bad as it almost gets. But he's not a gun grabber. He doesn't really defend the Second Amendment. He doesn't use his power to reverse things, but he isn't coming after your guns. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'd probably vote for Rick Perry. I'll tell you right now, I'd probably vote for Rick Perry. Bottom line, if it goes into a runoff and Medina's kicked out somehow, I will vote for Rick Perry over K. Belly Hutchinson. I will vote for Rick Perry over K. Belly Hutchinson. I will vote for Rick Perry over K. Belly Hutchinson. Bottom line, if it goes into a runoff and Medina's kicked out somehow, you drew blood on us. You attacked us. You drew first blood. That's the way it is. And if it goes into a runoff and Medina's kicked out somehow, I will vote for Rick Perry over K. Belly Hutchinson. He literally goes up there, puts on this act. I've been in the same restaurant with Perry when he's meeting with people. It's all intellectual talk. He's all very graceful. But then when he goes out, he's like, I'm a cowboy. We're going to secede. Woohoo. I mean, it's just as fake as a $3 bill. I've been in the same restaurant with Perry when he's meeting with people. I mean, it's just as fake as a $3 bill. You know, as much as I don't like Rick Perry, and he's been on the show before, by the way, as much as I don't like him, I really don't like K. Belly Hutchinson. And he's been on the show before, by the way. When I showed Endgame Blueprint for Global Enslavement in Austin, Texas at Alamo Draft House on South Lamar 2 years ago, one of the chief people in Rick Perry's office showed up. And he said, I heard Rick Perry's in the film. I'm a listener to the show. I wanted to see it. One of the chief people in Rick Perry's office showed up. One of the chief people in Rick Perry's office showed up. One of the chief people in Rick Perry's office showed up. What's going on there? Because we know these two are working together. And they act like they're fighting on the surface. I mean, that is too incredible. And we know what it's like to be under the thumb of tyrants. Man, I've met Rick Perry. I know Rick Perry. He does not normally talk with that big of a Texas accent. I've met Rick Perry. I know Rick Perry. That here's Rick Perry, Bilderberg Group member, New World Order, everything else. I've met Rick Perry. I know Rick Perry. Bilderberg Group member, New World Order, everything else. What's going on there? Because we know these two are working together. And they act like they're fighting on the surface. Rick Perry's talking about how I am in his top 3 enemies. And they act like they're fighting on the surface. On record one time, we had a reporter down at the Capitol, and Rick Perry walks out, and they go, hey, Governor Perry, it's Alex Jones here on the phone. And he goes, what are you doing, you big old fat hog? And they act like they're fighting on the surface. And he goes, what are you doing, you big old fat hog? And they'll be at a restaurant, they'll just walk right over. The governor will walk right over when I'm at Nuevo Leon in front of witnesses and say, "You have a nice Thanksgiving, Alex." And then one time he was on the show, was, calling me names and things. The point is...
So, Alex Jones, he says he knows Rick Perry. He knows his accent well. He met Rick Perry in a restaurant. He had Rick Perry on his radio show. He has sources at the highest level of Rick Perry's administration. He even had one of Rick Perry's people show up at a screening of his movie Endgame. On top of all that, Alex Jones says Perry is a Bilderberg member, but he would actually vote for Perry. And then we see how Alex Jones tanked Deborah Medina. It should be very, very clear that Alex Jones was working for Rick Perry the whole time and monopolizing the anti-government movement to later destroy it. Now, Deborah Medina's 9/11 comments were incredibly naive. So we have to ask, was Deborah Medina in on this as well? We can't be sure, but it's possible she took a paycheck in return for sinking her own candidacy. I mean, this is politics after all. Now, it gets even worse than that. Because remember, it was Glenn Beck who originally tanked Medina with the 9/11 truth comments. So the question is Alex Jones working for Glenn Beck as well? Now, Alex Jones has said a lot of nasty stuff about Glenn Beck.
I'm not controlled opposition like Glenn Beck. I'm real. The system knows that. With Beck, he is a total actor. He admits that's what he is an actor. And it's all fake. And everything is a lie or a deception. Yeah, Glenn Beck, it tries to get people's confidence so he can later double back on them. But that's why he's so dangerous. Because I've seen him over and over again at key junctures sabotage the true liberty movement.
Wow. It's almost as if Alex Jones is talking about himself.
I really want Glenn Beck to be for real, but he is definitely following government scripts. If you want to know about somebody who's definitely spook run, it's Glenn Beck. If anyone is a government agent, it is Glenn Beck. And let me tell you, Glenn Beck is a actual CIA officer. He's that, or he's defense intel or something else. I mean, that guy is an officer. He holds rank. Guaranteed. And let me tell you, Glenn Beck is a actual CIA officer.
Wow. An actual CIA officer. Now, the thing is, Alex Jones seems to have quite a few connections to Glenn Beck himself. Let's listen.
But I'm not even saying Glenn Beck's a bad guy. I've talked to two people high level at Fox News. One of them's a household name, who say Glenn Beck is scared to death and knows this is all real now and has bodyguards and didn't know what he got into. I've talked to two people high level at Fox News. I've talked to two people high level at Fox News. I've talked to two people high level at Fox News. One of them's a household name. One of them's a household name. One of them's a household name. I had a radio exec in my office Friday, a guy that works with all the big executives, Glenn Beck's people, Limbaugh's people, everybody. I'm just going to leave it at that. He knows them all. A guy that works with all the big executives, Glenn Beck's people, Glenn Beck's people, Glenn Beck's people. Look, here's the deal with Glenn Beck, okay? I happen to know people that know Glenn Beck and work with him. And he absolutely hates my guts. I happen to know people that know Glenn Beck and work with him. I happen to know people that know Glenn Beck and work with him. I happen to know people that know Glenn Beck and work with him. And he absolutely hates my guts. And he absolutely hates my guts. And they act like they're fighting on the surface. And I even know through contacts with his producer at Fox, they don't want it. Thank you, we'll look at it, click. And I even know through contacts with his producer at Fox. And I even know through contacts with his producer at Fox. And I even know through contacts with his producer at Fox. Look, I'm not stupid, and I'm not going to get into any details, but I could certainly go, if I played my cards right, go join Team Fox, ladies and gentlemen. Go join Team Fox, ladies and gentlemen. Go join Team Fox, ladies and gentlemen. Go join Team Fox, ladies and gentlemen.
Aha! So Jones has contacts with Glenn Beck's producer. He has contacts at the highest levels of Fox News. He knows the producers of Glenn Beck's radio show. And he says he could very easily work for Fox News. Isn't this all so very interesting? Is it not incredibly obvious here that Alex Jones and Glenn Beck were teaming up to destroy Deborah Medina? Alex Jones knows Rick Perry. He knows Rick Perry's people. He knows Glenn Beck's people. Glenn Beck said he would vote for Rick Perry. Alex Jones said he would vote for Rick Perry. Deborah Medina doesn't seem to fit in anywhere here. She doesn't know any of these people. She was never an insider. Now, just a few months after calling Glenn Beck an actual CIA officer, Alex Jones had a small change of mind.
That's a big, bold shift for Glenn Beck. What's your take on him coming out and talking about false flag terror? Coming out and talking about false flag terror. Coming out and talking about false flag terror. I want to say this. I mean, I told Beck months ago, cover poison in the water supply, cover eugenics. He has been. Last week he was talking about Rockefeller, not just Soros being part of the New World Order. So he's moving in the right direction, and so I would look for him to be destroyed. So he's moving in the right direction, and so he's moving in the right direction, and so he's moving in the right direction, and so I would look for him to be destroyed. When I made the prediction on air a month ago that if Beck continues to really start getting hardcore and telling the truth, he won't be on Fox. And then the New York Times, Beck told him Roger Ailes is mad at him and he might get pushed out. I mean, that's incredible. That if Beck continues to really start getting hardcore and telling the truth, that if Beck continues to really start getting hardcore and telling the truth, that if Beck continues to really start getting hardcore and telling the truth, he won't be on Fox. I mean, that's incredible.
Wow. Isn't it just incredible? It appears that Glenn Beck has had a falling out with the CIA and is now really telling the truth. Now, let's move on to Rush Limbaugh. What did Alex Jones have to say about Rush Limbaugh back in the good old days? Rush Limbaugh lied about weapons of mass destruction.
Exactly. I always hear Limbaugh and Hannity still saying WMDs were found, even as the UN and Bush admit that it was staged, was fake. It doesn't matter. They still say every day, no, it's real. No, the WMDs were there. Again, they're kind of living in the old model or the old download.
Rush Limbaugh is a fake conservative.
And you cowardly, foolish, fake Limbaugh-listening conservatives confronted me on the street and in emails. Cowardly, foolish, fake Limbaugh-listening conservatives. Cowardly, foolish, fake Limbaugh-listening conservatives. Cowardly, foolish, fake Limbaugh-listening conservatives.
Rush Limbaugh is just a Republican phony.
And Limbaugh and Hannity, they're not going to tell you all this stuff. Or they'll tell you the Republicans are going to save you and they're going to bring the same deal.
Rush Limbaugh is really working for Obama.
You know, when Limbaugh attacks him for phony reasons, that only makes the left support him more. And Limbaugh and Obama are both for trillions to the banks.
Rush Limbaugh is an establishment frontman.
And that's why Bill Clinton came out and said, we've got to shut down talk radio. Limbaugh, when Limbaugh is an establishment frontman to neutralize conservatives.
Rush Limbaugh is a complete drug addict train wreck.
They're going to have Limbaugh thoroughly discredited, looking like he was drugged out of his mind again when he was up on stage. He admits he took 100 Oxycontins a day, folks. That would kill 7 horses of average weight. I mean, that's how big his liver is. That's how much hillbilly heroin this boy takes. I watch Limbaugh morph into what he is today, and he really is a shameful egomaniac whose mind's partially rotted from synthetic heroin known as Oxycontin. And he's a horrible hypocrite who says put people in jail for their first time with cocaine, but don't put him in jail doctor shopping and taking 100 Oxycontins a day. But he's a sad person.
Oh, but isn't it funny how things change?
I mean, Rush Limbaugh was telling the truth. And sure, he tells the truth about the Second Amendment or property rights. He's good on a lot of things. Limbaugh is something entirely different. Limbaugh's even been linking to prisonplanet.com stories, folks. And Limbaugh and others are admitting now, and this is why they're finally telling the truth, they're getting scared, that the old money doesn't like new money. If you're not part of their clique, you are to be destroyed. And Limbaugh and others are admitting now, and this is why they're finally telling the truth, they're getting scared. I mean, is it not amazing that Limbaugh is now saying there's basically a secret ruling elite that's robbing America? I give credit where's due. Limbaugh and Savage. They're the only ones going all the way. Limbaugh and Savage. They're the only ones going all the way. Rush Limbaugh, and I agree with him. I'm glad he's really coming out now and telling it like it is. Rush Limbaugh, and I agree with him. I'm glad he's really coming out now and telling it like it is. That's a big deal to have Limbaugh coming out saying we may have martial law in America. I mean, Limbaugh is actually telling the truth, the complete truth in saying this. Wow, Limbaugh is genuinely upset. I think boy, they're going to really come after him now. With Rush Limbaugh, what you hear one year is the same a year later. I want to embrace truth. I want to embrace Rush Limbaugh. I want to embrace truth. I want to embrace Rush Limbaugh. I want to embrace truth. I want to embrace Rush Limbaugh. I even heard Limbaugh this week admitting the government wants to wreck the economy so they can run it. Limbaugh's finally getting it. It's a conspiracy, Limbaugh. Welcome to the club. It's a conspiracy, Limbaugh. Welcome to the club. It's a conspiracy, Limbaugh. Welcome to the club. I mean, it's Media Matters that says Rush Limbaugh is a liar. And I got to tell you, I read Media Matters every week to see what they're up to over the last decade. 90+% of the time, they're lying about Rush Limbaugh, and Rush Limbaugh's telling the truth. 90+% of the time, they're lying about Rush Limbaugh, and Rush Limbaugh's telling the truth. And that's why they don't like him. Because compared to George Soros and David Rockefeller, Rush Limbaugh is a great guy. Rush Limbaugh is a great guy. Rush Limbaugh's a great guy. That's why they don't like him, because he's not totally sold out to the New World Order. He doesn't fit into their program. If you listen to Hannity's show, or you listen to Savage, you listen to even Limbaugh, it's almost like Alex Jones is hosting the show sometimes. It's almost like Alex Jones is hosting the show sometimes. I'm trying to figure this out. Why is Limbaugh telling the truth? Again, everything Limbaugh's saying is totally true. And that's the thing. Compared to Media Matters, this guy is the bastion of truth and wisdom. This guy is the bastion of truth and wisdom.
To begin with, Rush Limbaugh was a fake conservative drug addict. Now he is the bastion of truth. Isn't it funny how things change? Now, the question is, why the sudden change of heart? Well, to answer this question, we must understand Alex Jones has been offered to be a big establishment radio show over and over again. Let's listen.
10 years ago, I was offered Glenn Beck's job before Glenn Beck existed. He's only been a Patriot radio host for 8 years. I was told, you'll be the next Rush Limbaugh. You'll be on national television. You're more powerful than Limbaugh. Again, I was approached by the number 1 and number 2 consecutive largest syndicators at the time. And they said, look, you come out of the radio, you grab people, you have an intellect, you've studied history. We've done focus groups on you. You will be the next Rush Limbaugh. I said, well, where do I sign on the dotted line? And they said, well, here's the problem. No more black helicopters, no more private Federal Reserve, no more world government. And I said, no, thank you. And I said, no, thank you. And I said, no, thank you. Imagine if you were offered real power, like I have been, millions of dollars a year, power, real power, on all over the country, on hundreds and hundreds of AM and FMs, and I've turned it down repeatedly. And I haven't seen many other people who will turn down hard, cold cash. I haven't seen other people that will turn down hard, cold fame. And I don't understand that. Who I am, being accurate, being honest, telling it like it is, and doing it my way is a numero uno. Being accurate, being honest, telling it like it is.
Princess Diana told everybody that Prince Charles told her face to face, I'm going to kill you in a fake auto accident.
Being accurate, being honest, telling it like it is. We're probably in the next few years going to go ahead and have World War III, folks. And I haven't seen many other people who will turn down hard, cold cash. And I said, no, thank you.
Now, are we really supposed to believe that Alex Jones turned down millions of dollars to be the biggest radio host in America? I mean, this is the same Alex Jones promoting cancer cures, working for Rick Perry, screwing over real conservatives, putting out complete disinformation on a daily basis. It should be very obvious that Alex Jones took the offer, but just hasn't made it public. Let's just say it was off the books. Now, speaking of fake conservatives, let's talk about one of the Tea Party's favourite candidates, Rand Paul, the son of Ron Paul. Alex Jones has been a big supporter of Rand Paul, helping him to get elected as senator for Kentucky. Now, one thing conservatives in America do not like is taxes. One of the big taxes floating around recently has been the VAT tax. For years and years, Alex Jones has relentlessly attacked the VAT tax. Let's listen.
Glenn Beck calling for a value-added tax. Glenn Beck calling for a value-added tax. That's exactly what the Copenhagen Global Government Treaty that will be paid directly to the IMF and World Bank. This is Bill O'Reilly and Glenn Beck talking about how they want national sales taxes and value-added taxes. Over a decade, I've told you, because I read the official government plans, so you're going to have to thumbprint and swipe a card to buy and sell. That will also be your carbon tax credit. I've told you that for more than a decade, because I'm reading directly from the CFR and RAND Corporation and others' plans. And what is in the treaty? A value-added tax of 2%. We can't talk about how they're setting up a value-added tax and national federally administered sales tax to track everything we buy, sell, and do with new bureaucracies and new taxing authorities that'll make the IRS look like choir boys. They want a new excise tax. They want a new value-added tax. They have Glenn Beck calling for it, calling it conservative. And so now they're announcing new sales taxes they want nationally, and excise taxes, and value-added taxes, and how we've got to have these new taxes. And they've got controlled opposition like Glenn Beck and Bill O'Reilly every time I see their show saying, oh, we've got to pay this debt off. We've got to have a big tax. Oh, it's so conservative. Beck and O'Reilly every night say we need a new tax to pay the bankers. I mean, give me a break. But what is Glenn Beck's solution? An excise tax and a sales tax? Oh, we need new taxes. Oh, it's so conservative to pay off this debt. It's an illegal debt to foreign banks. We don't need to pay it. When they've got the supposed patriots pushing for new taxes, ladies and gentlemen, Glenn Beck is going to save us. Yes, with his value-added tax, and he believes in global warming. Is that I've probably heard him 20 times call for sales taxes and VATs, which the private central banks want to rob even more of our money, which the private central banks want to rob even more of our money, which the private central banks want to rob even more of our money. It's simple. If somebody supports more taxes, they're an enemy. If somebody supports more taxes, they're an enemy. If somebody supports more taxes, they're an enemy.
So the VAT tax is exactly what the globalists want. And anyone who supports the VAT tax is an enemy of the Republic. Well, you know what's interesting about all of this? Guess who supports the VAT tax? None other than Rand Paul. That's right. Rand Paul supports the VAT tax.
Rand Paul's new sales tax.
I would always favor a sales tax over an income tax.
23% more on gas.
That would include the fair tax, changing to a sales tax.
23% more on medicine.
I would rather have a sales tax.
On groceries and everything you buy. Rand Paul, you pay more.
So, does this mean Rand Paul is an enemy of the Republic? Now, someone phoned in to Alex's show and confronted him on this issue. Let's hear what Alex Jones had to say.
But I really did, seriously, I wanted you to touch on the fact that in the final debate against Conway, Rand Paul did mention about being for, he even mentioned being for a VAT tax, a national sales tax.
Well, but he wants to get rid of the income tax, and I would be for a VAT if it wasn't international and we got rid of the income tax, but they're not going to do that. And so I believe Rand is wrong about that, and I did see that. Rand's not perfect. He's certainly not Ron Paul, but he's a lot better than Jack Conway. I appreciate your call. Rand's not perfect. He's certainly not Ron Paul. Rand's not perfect. He's certainly not Ron Paul. Rand's not perfect. He's certainly not Ron Paul.
So the VAT tax is the big globalist plan to enslave us. But when Rand Paul supports it, it's okay, you know? It's okay. No one's perfect. Go for the lesser of two evils.
But now you're for it because it's Obama and you feel like he's your man and you've got a seat at the table. You feel like he's your man and you've got a seat at the table. You feel like he's your man and you've got a seat at the table. I just don't like this lesser of two evil things when somebody says, I'm a rock. When I say something, that's the way it is. I just don't like this lesser of two evil things. I just don't like this lesser of two evil things. I just don't like this lesser of two evil things. Rand's not perfect. He's certainly not Ron Paul, but he's a lot better than Jack Conway.
Now, if you look at Rand Paul's policies, they're very similar to that of the Republican Party. But yet, the whole time, Alex has been trying desperately to sell Rand Paul as an anti-establishment candidate. Now listen closely to just how much Alex Jones simplifies this.
Or you get a case like Rand Paul in Kentucky and you see the Republican leadership trying to beat them in the primary, you better believe they're good. And you see the Republican leadership trying to beat them in the primary, you better believe they're good. You better believe they're good. You better believe they're good. Look, this woman's a nut. She wants fluoride out of the water. Soon as you hear that, vote for. Soon as you hear that, vote for. Soon as you hear that, vote for. Rand Paul, they started lying and saying he was kidnapping women. A week later, they had to admit it was all made up and wasn't true. But, that showed you, and Dick Cheney went and campaigned against him. Rand Paul, you know he's good. Dick Cheney went and campaigned against him. Dick Cheney went and campaigned against him. Dick Cheney went and campaigned against him. Rand Paul, you know he's good.
You have to wonder if the media is deliberately making stuff up about Rand Paul as kind of a reverse psychology to make people think the establishment's out to get him. Surely the greatest way the Democrats could win is by saying he supports more taxes. But no, instead they claim he was a member of a strange Aqua Buddha sex cult. And then to have Darth Vader himself, Dick Cheney, attacking Rand Paul. It's as if they want Rand Paul to win to make people think that they're beating the establishment.
I've never seen a hit piece this flimsy. I almost thought like they were secretly on our side and trying to screw themselves up. I almost thought like they were secretly on our side and trying to screw themselves up. I almost thought like they were secretly on our side and trying to screw themselves up.
Now again, compare this to Deborah Medina, who wanted to completely eliminate the property tax. We can see that Alex Jones supports all the fake conservatives and then viciously attacks the real ones. Now, another big group within the libertarian conservative movement is the militia. These are armed groups who often believe the police and the federal government are the enemy. Now, the one person the conspiracy people really do not like is Bill Clinton.
Women. Hey, Bill, what about Bilderberg? Come on, Bill, we know you're a murderer. Larry Nichols knows otherwise. Bilderberg, 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 fascist. Your new world order's going down, Bill. We love Bill Clinton. Clinton is the best fascist ever! Mrs. Clinton, get out away from Vince Foster, do you have any comments on the murder of Vince Foster? Do you have any comments on the murder of Vince Foster? Are you going to be attending Bilderberg this weekend, Hillary? Mrs. Clinton, are you going to Bilderberg this weekend? Hillary, how many did you kill in Arkansas that bury your sins? Hillary, how many did you kill in Arkansas that bury your sins? Larry Nichols has evidence. What do you think of Larry Nichols' evidence, President Clinton? Very much. What happened to Building 7? What happened to Building 7, Bill? I don't even know where it is.
Percent of the delegates to the National Convention.
Tell them about the CFR, Bill.
Right here.
Tell them about Bilderberg, Bill.
Right, we don't agree with Senator McCain. We ought to stay in Iraq.
But you're in the CFR with Senator McCain.
We don't. The truth is, they all want change. and they like both candidates.
You're not changed, we're changed. Tell them about your New World Order. Your CFR scum, just like McCain. You won't have your New World Order or your North American Union. 9/11 was an inside job. The CFR was behind it. We know it. The CFR scum, just like John McCain. We're the same people. You both funded 9/11. You're both behind it. You both funded 9/11. You're both behind it. Tell us about Bilderberg. Tell us about the Bilderberg meeting. Tell us how you got elected. Bilderberg. We won't have a New World Order here. You won't have your North American Union. We know you're with Bilderberg, Hillary. We know about Bilderberg. We know about Roger Ailes and Fox News, Hillary. Rupert Murdoch's got your back. We know about it. Bilderberg, Hillary, or Bilderberg. You're with the New World Order. You're a whore of the New World Order, Bilderberg.
Senator Clinton, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you
Can
doing?
I ask you a quick question while you sign that? It was reported in June of 2006 you attended a meeting in Ottawa, Canada, the Bilderberg Group. Can you comment on that? What's going on at the Bilderberg meeting, and what do you guys talk about up there?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
What are you screaming about? Let him talk.
Support a new investigation into the attacks of 9/11.
Are you one of those that was an inside job, guys? Well, let me tell you something. 9/11 was not an inside job. It was an Osama bin Laden job with 19 people from Saudi Arabia.
But it's all right. If you don't have any self-control, we can live with it. But just think about that. An inside job? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you?
You see, they're very upset because they think Bill Clinton bombed Oklahoma City in order to clamp down on their firearms. Alex Jones has many of these people in his audience, so he really has to attack the Clintons to have any kind of credibility. So, what does Alex Jones have to say about the Clintons? Let's find out.
Boom. Bill Clinton arrogantly shows up thinking people want to listen to his lies. I did not have sex with that woman. Monica Lewinsky, how dare you? How dare you? That idiot shows up and that's how arrogant they are. He thinks it's going to help. And the idea of government-sponsored terror isn't going away. Hitler did it. Caesar did it. Bill Clinton did it. Bill Clinton openly campaigning against Barack Hussein Obama for his wife, Hillary. Hillary, total globalist, anti-gun, the original harbinger of government socialist healthcare, total globalist. Just like 1993, Bill Clinton bombing the World Trade Centers because they had invested in him as being their daddy, their friend, their master, their helper. Or Bill Clinton saying, I didn't have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky, how dare you? We're also going to get into media defense Clinton Gore over allegations of rape and sexual assault. It's a conspiracy theory to say Bill Clinton lied. I didn't have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. I don't agree with George Soros and Bill Clinton. Chelsea Clinton goes and gets married to this Goldman Sachs guy who gives her $1 million ring. It's $6 million in security. The airspace is closed. And here is a mafia family marrying their daughter off to this other mafia individual. That just shows how in your face these people are. In fact, I want him back on. I want Terry Reid back on. He was a CIA commander who was at Mena, Arkansas, with Bill Clinton and the cocaine. I want Terry Reid. He wrote Compromise, Clinton, Bush, and the CIA. With Bill Clinton and the cocaine. With Bill Clinton and the cocaine. With Bill Clinton and the cocaine. And remember, Bush, George W. wouldn't go after Clinton for all of his treason. Remember all that. The Chinese generals in the White House, the sellouts, the drug dealing. It was Clinton's controllers that bombed Oklahoma City in 1995. Chinese generals were in the White House paying off Bill Clinton to get missile secrets and to sell our nation out. And Bill Clinton was engaged in treason. It's worse than Bill Clinton saying, I didn't have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky, shaking his finger. Have you read Hillary Clinton's now declassified treatise to Saul Alinsky about how she wants you to live in work brigades, basically? Hillary Clinton's Saul Alinsky thesis, which has been classified, has been released in full. We were reading over this some during the break. It is absolute communism, how she's a communist. Oh, God help us. I mean, how did we ever let this? Folks, communists killed 3, 4, 5 times, depending on which numbers you look at, more than Hitler. We've got Hillary Clinton's own treatise where she admits she loves communism and covertly taking over the government. Just like Republicans thought they'd won and defeated Bill Clinton after 8 years of hell. Bill Clinton, hundreds and hundreds of people that were on his list, and it did come out, mainstream news, he did have a list, they would end up dying. And I don't want to die. I'll be honest with you. This is the kind of crap that they walk up in a grocery store parking lot and cap you in the back of the head and take your wallet. And if that happens to me, because it says Bill Clinton's involved in this, and he runs hit teams, murder teams. Don't forget the Clinton Chronicles and all of that, the death list. I mean, I am on the White House enemies list, Bill Clinton running it. Bill Clinton doesn't play games. You know, we're not messing with their families. Don't mess with our families. The problem is the Clintons, they don't have any rules. They go after families, kids. They're just absolute scum. The problem is the Clintons, they don't have any rules. They go after families, kids. They're just absolute scum. For a time, the CIA section chief in London ran Hillary and Bill. That's now declassified. Then in the mid-'70s, when he was CIA director, George Herbert Walker Bush managed and handled William Jefferson Clinton. They then ran narcotics together at Mena. I've had the CIA officers on record. They then ran narcotics together. They then ran narcotics together. They then ran narcotics together because Bill Clinton was the only person that had sex with Monica Lewinsky and did disgusting things with cigars with her. And did disgusting things with cigars with her. And did disgusting things with cigars with her. They love their white guilt. They live for it. And then there's people who live to invoke it, the poverty pimps, like Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. And devil in disguise. Well, not anymore. Obama, slick-talking, long-legged Mac Daddy in there getting the job done. A lot better than that little Mac Daddy George W. Bush. Even slicker than Mr. Pimp Game himself, Bill Clinton. Hillary Clinton doing seances with Mrs. Roosevelt. I see Bill Clinton on TV all the time looking like he's about to die, drinking Diet Coke full of aspartame. I see Bill Clinton on TV all the time looking like he's about to die, drinking Diet Coke full of aspartame. And then I have this weird thing of Bill Clinton. Don't we forget where they say Bill Clinton is the Prince of Peace, like Jesus. And so Bill Clinton had the feds go in and beat up women. They go, look at those dirty anarchists beating up women. Don't worry, we're going to fight back against them. And then they attacked the 60,000+ peaceful demonstrators. And so Bill Clinton had the feds go in and beat up women. So Bill Clinton had the feds go in and beat up women. Bill Clinton wanted you to know what martial law is like. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton. But, I mean, they don't care. Hillary goes to Bilderberg. Bill Clinton goes to Bilderberg. Bill Clinton's a rare breed because he's an intellectual genius at evil and Machiavellian activity, but he also revels in crowds. That most real masterminds do not revel in crowds. Genius at evil and Machiavellian activity. It goes Bush, Clinton, Bush, Clinton. I guess we'll always have a Clinton in the White House. I'm so sick of looking at that woman. And here they all come. Al Gore, Hillary Clinton. They're saying Bill Clinton's going to be in the administration. All the same people that ran Waco and Oklahoma. They're just all back. You know, I just tell it like it is. When I found out Bill Clinton's people had been involved bombing Oklahoma City, I exposed it. George Bush is evil, so the liberals think Bill Clinton's going to save them. And then Bill Clinton, 8 horrible years of tyranny and corruption and Chinese generals in the White House and cocaine dealers being pardoned and unbelievable corruption and all sorts of murders. Tired of the fake Republicans, tired of Clinton staging the Oklahoma City bombing, tired of Bush's controllers, tired of the fake Republicans, tired of Clinton staging the Oklahoma City bombing, tired of Bush's controllers. We've also got Hillary Clinton apologizing for saying, hey, you want me to stay in the race? Somebody might basically kill Barack Obama. That's a Clinton threat right there, if there ever was one, and that's what you would expect.
out of this mafia organization. Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton. I mean, if I ever have to look at that woman again, it'll be too soon. I mean, if I ever have to look at that woman again, it'll be too soon. I mean, if I ever have to look at that woman again, it'll be too soon.
Reminds me of the Clinton murders where they cut the guy's head off, arms, leg off, pour gasoline on him, and then claim they committed suicide. About it. People only like him because he's black. No, people like him because he's charming and because he doesn't have all the baggage and the murders and the death list and the corruption and the socialized health care and the linen pins on the first day in the White House like Hillary was wearing and the linen pins on the first day in the White House like Hillary was wearing.
And you look at Hillary, I mean, she just looks like a witch. She looks like an eel. And she would sit there with that smirk, that arrogant, witch-like smirk. She looked like a moray eel. I mean, I don't usually judge a book by its cover, but she's repugnant. Look, I don't like Barack Obama, but I really hate Hillary Clinton.
And that's the issue here. So, of course, I cut my teeth on talk radio attacking Bill Clinton. Not because I didn't like Democrats, but because the guy was corrupt. The guy was a liar. The guy was clearly involved in Oklahoma City. And now we have Bill Clinton saying, gee, I hope it doesn't take another Oklahoma City to shut all this down. Well, as bad as Obama is, and he's bad, this is Bill Clinton. This is, I did not have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. How dare you? How dare you? Oh. This is missile secrets of the Chinese. This is the reported rapist. I mean, this guy, the reported rapist.
Wow. Alex Jones really seems to hate Bill Clinton. But the thing is, I found a very, very interesting clip from the Alex Jones radio show. Listen to this.
Well, you know, Bill Clinton was in town last year, and my wife's mother, has been active in the Democratic Party. So it was a Democratic Party dinner. There was about 100 people there, and they're all around Bill Clinton talking. And somebody said, what do you think, not my wife's mother, but one of her friends said, what do you think about Alex Jones, the radio and TV guy who's talking about the New World Order? And Bill Clinton said, let me think of the exact quote, Alex Jones is one of the most important commentators, and what he's saying is some of the most important things being said in the world. And they said, you mean Alex Jones, the young anti-New World Order guy? He said, yeah, Alex Jones, and mentioned some things. I mean, that is just absolutely incredible. And it's kind of bone-chilling, Alan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they are monitoring, as I say, anyone who they claim is an agitator or someone that can break through the matrix.
But why would he say something nice about me?
It doesn't necessarily be nice. See, what you're saying is, what we are saying is important. In other words, it's true. And, of course, it means that this, because it's so true, they cannot ignore it. But they also hope the public, or the general public, will be overwhelmed with the regular media, which keeps them in limbo.
Well, Alan, isn't there something even more? Within the pyramidal structure, according to Rothkopf and others, and I agree, there's only about 3,000 to 6,000 people that even have 5% of the big picture, and that we've reverse engineered from their documents and reading different compartments of their operation really accurately what they're doing. And so the few commentators or reporters out there that actually know what they're doing and accurately are reporting it, they are recognizing that, because even within their own elite, most of their people don't realize the big picture. And I think that's another danger, is members of the elite, members of the establishment who didn't have the full picture are hearing and seeing what we have to say, and I think that's causing them some problems. And Bill Clinton said, Alex Jones is one of the most important commentators, and what he's saying is some of the most important things being said in the world. And Bill Clinton said, Alex Jones is one of the most important commentators, and what he's saying is some of the most important things being said in the world. But why would he say something nice about me? I mean, that is just absolutely incredible.
So Alex Jones calls Bill Clinton a rapist, a murderer, responsible for Oklahoma City, and then in return, Bill Clinton praises Alex Jones. 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 Interestingly enough, Alex's good friend Charlie Sheen is also connected to Bill Clinton.
He's officially asking Obama to meet with him when he's out on the trail, or Charlie will fly to meet with him. And by the way, Sheen's hung out with Clinton, hung out with Gore, been on plane trips with him, way back in the day. His dad knows all these people.
So what is the connection here? What is Alex's agenda? What is Alex's agenda? What is Alex's agenda? Well, if Bill Clinton really did bomb Oklahoma City, and there really was a plan to wipe out the population, you'd think the natural response would be violence. And listening to Alex's show, you notice a lot of the people phoning in are looking for a fight.
I wonder why, though, for over 14 years, I've had people on message boards and emails and call the show, and they say, Alex, you need to call for violence. And then I never see them go out and commit the violence. I mean, you want me to? Who am I supposed to attack? I mean, tell me right now, who am I supposed to go out and target today?
One person phoning into the show asks, who do we start shooting, and when do we start shooting them?
But at one point, somebody's going to have to address the issue of who gets to give the orders to fire, and when, and under what circumstances, and when is that going to happen? Who are going to be the people? Because it's not enough and it's not sufficient just to own the guns. And just waving the guns and just owning them, at one point someone's going to have to use them, and somebody's going to have to determine who are the commanders, who are the people who are... I mean, you get my point, right?
Another phone caller says, shall we have a peaceful revolution, or shall we have a violent revolution?
And finally, when we have everybody on our side, what is it going to be, a violent revolution?
Another caller suggests we should walk around in groups with guns pointing outwards.
I think if we get everyone that thinks like you together, we can do more together than we can apart.
If we're all together in one spot, they can chop our head off. We don't want a one-headed Hydra.
Not if we have guns. Not if we have guns. Not if we have guns.
Now you notice, every time someone tries to stir up violence, Alex is very quick to denounce it. Alex Jones keeps telling his audience, do not use violence. First, he says, don't use violence because that's what the government wants.
The country is already in revolution. The question is, what type of revolution will it be? I certainly hope, and I'm working for peaceful. The establishment is provocateuring and wants it to be violent. Because people are talking about violent revolution, and liberals are calling for 100,000-man marches to the sea and all this sedition. We don't want that. The globalists would use that for control. They're testing it, they're tracking it, and they admit they're doing this. They want a violent revolution, and the establishment is going to try to make it violent. People call me, Alex, you need to call for war right now. And it's some big fat federal agents sitting there in their offices. Some big fat federal agents sitting there in their offices. The system wants to drive us into violence. That's why they prepared the military and police for it. This is dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. The globalists want to have violence. So the globalists are in a race to start a shooting war. And so we need to take our states back peacefully, but they don't want that. They want to get a violent revolution going. Now, we need to fix things peacefully, ladies and gentlemen, but the system is gearing up to force us into violence, which is what they want. So we want to not have violence, ladies and gentlemen.
You wouldn't want to do what the government wants, would you? Then he says, whenever there is a violent attack, it's the government responsible. So he's saying, this is not a real attack. Don't join it. Don't do more attacks. History has shown that these things can spread quickly if people think it's working.
And 1 hour after Joe Stack supposedly flew his plane into that building, and all the evidence says that was staged, and all the white supremacist groups, all of them, all the majors, it's come out over and over again are feds. I told you a decade ago Hal Turner was a fed attacking me, threatening to kill judges constantly, calling for violence constantly. The FBI doesn't go after groups calling for violence, calling for things if they're Hispanic. The globalists are putting us in a cage like pit bulls to kill each other. 2 weeks before that he was planning some type of violent attack. They warned them, but nothing was done. It turns out for 2 years, the Fort Hood shooter was emailing who he believed was Al-Qaeda. He was praising suicide bombers on basis. He was left alone. And Fort Hood is definitely some type of staged event. At bare minimum, they knew he was going to do it and let him do it. I mean, you badmouth Obama in the slightest way, you get court-martialed or a dishonorable discharge. This guy was running around for 4 years going wild on Bush, Obama, you name it, and they let that guy do what he did. No doubt they're staging many of these brick-through-the-window events. Democrats have been caught doing this before. Every major activist group in England that does engage in violence and does call for violence, the reason you know they're feds is because time and time again it's come out that they are working for the British government or the Australian government or the Canadian government or the German government. Yeah, how do you like it, conservative talk show host, when the feds blew Oklahoma City sky high?
Then Alex Jones says, whenever there is real violence, it's only losers and outcasts that do it. So it's not something you want to do. You're not a loser, are you?
There's two classes, and that is the spoiled brat, live with mommy. My wife divorced me, so I'm going to kill her and kill the kids and then kill her family. There's the spoiled brat, instant gratification, mama's boy. And then there is the enraged postal employee who goes in and shoots people at an office. And those are real and they happen. This is a violent society.
Then Alex Jones says maybe he would be violent, but only if he's being taken to a concentration camp. So the message is, don't be violent until that happens.
So on record, I am nonviolent unless it means somebody's taking me and my children and putting us on army trucks, which they're trained for. Houston Chronicle, they built FEMA camps.
Then Alex Jones gives examples of how to have success peacefully.
Look, sir, we are waking people up peacefully right now, and this is a big wake-up call for folks, and we're trying through the states peacefully, and it looks like we're going to have success if we get involved and support them. I've seen a lot of people who call for violence or just go get a shed out in the countryside and wait for the first government person to come on their property so they can kill them. And then you got some stupid census worker comes knocking on the door and somebody shoots them. They don't deserve to be killed. They don't deserve a death penalty. You can't be judge, jury, and executioner. We are about due process of law here. We're about justice. And that's why when the cops put some teenager in handcuffs and shoot him in the back, those cops deserve to go to prison. But you just can't go grab a bunch of cops and hog time and then take them into some ditch and blow their heads off. They know that our best chance of defeating them politically, non-violently, is taking control of the states through the legislative process and saying no. Exactly. Guns are a key insurance policy against tyranny, but they're the most disgusting cop-out. People just sitting on a hoard of weapons and food, never doing anything, waiting to be dug out of their holes. You need the backup and the bug-out plan, but at the same time, you need to be out there engaged at city council in a suit.
You also notice that Alex Jones even uses a lot of violent language on his show, but he uses it to describe peaceful things.
This is a war, and when you speak out, it's a weapon. I'm going to give you a weapon that's packed with the truth that'll blow the hell out of the enemy. Now get ready! Get ready! With a concerted grassroots lone wolf attack. But if we just attack the bully, if he's bigger than us in the info war, they'll pick up a rock, slam it upside their head. I mean that figuratively. I mean, do whatever you got to. Pick up a stick. We need to have a call to arms peaceably in the info war, a call to the info war. We planted all the seeds, ticking time bombs in the info war. You see a lot of them exploding daily. That's nothing. As things get worse, the info bombs will just detonate and not hurt people, but unlock minds. And I'm just thinking about pulling the trigger right now for the Obama deception. Pulling the trigger right now for the Obama deception. Pulling the trigger right now. Pulling the trigger right now. Picture the enemy's info war tanks coming over, blasting, firing at the population. And you're just up there with those rockets, blasting them, blowing them to bits, hit them in the treads, immobilize them, and then just keep getting more of the film out. Go in, throw a hand grenade down in the hatch, boom! We have these people dead to rights. We have them dead in our sights. We're fully loaded, like 100 submarines lined up with torpedoes in the chute. We've got the enemy aircraft carrier 1,000 yards away from us. Flood those torpedo chutes and fire weapons now. I've been screaming fire weapons since Friday. And I know all the other talk show hosts and writers listen to me. I don't care who fires torpedoes. I've given you the facts and how to sink these people. Fire weapons! Fire! What are we waiting for? Fire! But the police, the military, the juries, the grand juries, everybody just stands around afraid to take these people on. Now, we literally have got our guns trained on these people, and nobody's opening fire. Well, I'm opening fire in the info war right now. Don't wait for orders from headquarters. Fire at will. flood those torpedo tubes and launch. Now, we literally have got our guns trained on these people. Now, we literally have got our guns trained on these people.
Notice he says he already has his guns literally pointed at them. So these can't be real guns. They are info guns. It's all a big psychological game. Then you'll notice how angry Alex gets as he describes all of these sickening things.
I am an animal. I am vicious. At a sick level, I'd love somebody to try that. I want to literally rip their head off their shoulders. And the people are so cowardly, Bob, they think I'm making it up that I've taken guns away from people. I don't understand why people are so wimpy. I don't think of myself as a tough guy, Bob. Somebody comes after me, I can't control myself. What is wrong with these people? I drive by fatality accidents every year. I was driving down to the coast with my kids a few years ago and literally saw smashed bodies and blood all over the embankment with a couple wrecked cars because the police had just gotten there and it was traffic. And I drove by and just saw blood and guts on the wall. These are sickos. These are people that have had billions of dollars, all the money, all the sex, raping kids. Stuff you see in movies like Hostel, that's all over the European news every week, where they find young women with their teeth ripped out, heads cut off, torture dungeons with people hanging on meat hooks. And it's just kept quiet back of the newspaper. That's what these people do on holiday. They're just ripping children's teeth out with pliers, sawing people in half, dipping people in acid, giant torture camps, underground facilities in Romania and everywhere else with horse stables and where they have torture camps. And it just comes out and the CIA people are in there just raping and slaughtering and just loving it. It's all part of their satanic enjoyment. It's admitted that Lenin would go to a little island he had with thousands of white rabbits. They ended up putting that in a Hollywood movie separately, where the crazy guy pops the back of the car and throws out the rabbits and is running around shooting them with a shotgun. And he would just run around stabbing them and killing them and shooting them and just flopping around. And there's been a few people here in Austin jumping off high buildings and splatting. And you're not human, and it's a big joke when they just shotgun a little kid and the kid blows in half. They go, "Rogue leader, that little bastard, look at him crying." I mean, it's just, hey, let's get this family's car and run over it with a tank. And there's video. Yeah, look at this family drive by. And it's just like, and just when you're dying, at least know they did it, okay? When your whole town's flopping around, vomiting their guts out, crapping their guts out. And I'm not some hot shot, bravado, testosterone guy who wants to have a war and is all into the idea of dead cops and FBI agents laying all over the place, okay? And dead citizens everywhere. And they just bring in the children and they go, "You're going to tell me you're Al-Qaeda? Bring the 5-year-old here in front of them." The parents are chained down and they just, all right. I mean, literally, that's in the Army reports. "Give me the battery acid. I'm going to put battery acid all over this. You're Al-Qaeda." And they would beat them for, 10, 15 hours straight till their legs liquefied. And they would just take them and go, "Throw them in the pit." Bleh. And they'd have doctors go fill out the report that they, died of a heart attack, some 16-year-old. "Bring me another to the pit." And I'm going to beat you for, I mean, what kind of psycho just beats people for 10 hours? Just, and they would take turns beating and beating. Oh, I love the demonic power. Just seething with hatred, seething with evil. I mean, this is sick, folks. This is so completely and totally sick. It just boggles the mind.
The purpose here is to fulfill people's natural, violent manlyhood, to fulfill people's natural appetite for violence. It's a big mind game. Alex Jones often talks about how sports stadiums and events are used to do this.
You got people that have an extension of their manhood watching shock and awe and whole skylines being blown to bits, and they get big bottles of Jack Daniels and pizza, and they get drunk for a week laying back feeling manly. It is ridiculous. It's just like people that go to a football game and feel manly yelling for their team. They're taking normal tribal energies you've got, all those energies where you get upset about sports and get excited when your team wins, or in Austin when UT loses, some people don't go to work and everyone's depressed. None of that matters. You're meant to get upset and angry about tyranny.
Yeah. Let's get upset about Henry Kissinger saying we should sterilize people. That really happened. That's definitely not a diversion.
That Alex Jones is weird. He gets all crazy and yells and screams. I don't like it. Now, I do want to go to a football game this weekend and get yelled and scream, though, and that's normal. But a huge government program to euthanize and kill people with soft kill weapons, I mean, what is wrong with him getting excited about it? But a huge government program to euthanize and kill people. But a huge government program to euthanize and kill people. A huge government program to euthanize and kill people. I mean, what is wrong with him getting excited about it?
Now, are you starting to see how this works? So you can see one of Alex's agendas is to stop people from carrying out acts of violence. Now, you notice, whenever there's a violent attack in the US, the mainstream media almost always blames it on Alex Jones.
But going back to MSNBC, I had them demonize me a few weeks ago and basically said that I'm calling for violence. They actually name me on MSNBC and imply that I'm trying to cause a violent overthrow of the government. Every day, sometimes multiple times daily, Newsweek, Time Magazine, London Guardian, New York Times write articles saying I'm calling for violence. I've been predicting this and predicting this and predicting this, and 1 hour after Joe Stack supposedly flew his plane to that building, 1 hour after it happened, I went live with my weekday show, 11 a.m., about an hour and 8 minutes after it happened. And I said, they're going to blame me within hours. Within 1 hour of airtime, 2 hours of it happening, Austin American-Statesman, New York Daily News, London Guardian saying I had called for this attack. We've had all the George Soros publications, Huffington Post, Media Matters attack me and say I'm calling for violence when it's the opposite. Turned out the white supremacists hated my guts and attacked me everywhere. And so the ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, knew that. They had people on the streets within hours coming up to cameras, smiling, saying, yeah, he likes Alex Jones. Just totally staged. And that's pretty creepy, because these people don't play games. I just got off the phone with Anderson Cooper's producer. Anderson Cooper is admitted CIA. Admittedly worked for the CIA. I just got off the phone with Anderson Cooper's producer. Anderson Cooper is both an Astor and one other blue blood family. He's an intermarried super blue blood. He's one of the main heirs. I just got off the phone with Anderson Cooper's producer. He's admittedly CIA. He admitted he was CIA in college. I just got off the phone with Anderson Cooper's producer. They have a special tonight about how evil I am. Anderson Cooper is admitted CIA. But they're going to let me respond. They're going to interview me for 10 minutes. He admitted he was CIA in college. The piece is about, am I causing all of this? It's like the London Guardian saying Alex Jones is a black hole causing. Within 2 hours of Richard Poplawski killing 3 cops, he was a white supremacist who posted all over the internet hating me. Within 2 hours of him being in custody, they got his computer and said he did it because of Alex Jones. Lying about us means nothing. And there's that talking point, ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, mainstream media, going on really for the last year, out of the blue, that 9/11 Truth, alternative media, birthers, in the fetters, we got Army documents on this, are violent terrorists. To now have the London Guardian and just New York Daily News, the Austin American-Statesman, no exaggeration, 3 or 4 big publications a day saying I'm dangerous, I'm bad, Alex Jones has caused a huge psychosis globally. And so Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, scores of other publications, Time, Newsweek, all particularly naming Alex Jones. I mean, the London Guardian said that I'm like a black hole of evil and creating mass psychosis. Austin American-Statesman implied that I supported it. Total lie, total defamation, whatever. That's why they're discredited. Go have fun. Tell all the lies you want. New York Daily News, Time Magazine, Newsweek, New York Times, going after who? Alex Jones. Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL, last week demonizing me, saying 9/11 Truth is going to be violent. So he introduces me, Geraldo Rivera, and he says basically because I'm in Austin. You know, the same place the guy flew the plane into the building. You know, the message is I'm causing all of this. And so now Geraldo Rivera has me up on air saying, by the way, he joins us from the same town where the guy flew the plane into the building. So this is the message. This is the programming that's going on. And within hours of the attack, the Austin American-Statesman, New York Daily News, and scores of other publications attacked Alex Jones. But in every case now, over and over again, within hours, the mainstream media singles Alex Jones out. Joe Stack flies that plane into a building. Within 3 hours, the New York Daily News, the Austin American-Statesman, and literally scores of other publications. It legally, they're not saying I did it, but the average person reads it as if I'm supporting what happened, when, of course, we decried it from the moment go and said, watch, they'll be blaming it on me within hours, and then within hours they were blaming it on me. Financial Times writer compares Alex Jones with OKC Timothy McVeigh. You can just put it on screen for me. And I'm in the headline. And in this article, he says that I am Tim McVeigh. He says, I come from Tim McVeigh. I am Tim McVeigh. He says, I called him up like an insane shaved head person. This is a quote from San Quentin. So he paints the picture of, I thought it was someone in San Quentin, so I'm a prisoner. Then he talks about McVeigh. So the whole thing is, I need to be locked up. This is the Financial Times of London, in probably the most prestigious newspaper in the world, owned by a Bilderberg Group member. Owned by a Bilderberg Group member. Owned by a Bilderberg Group member. And then I got a bunch of other headlines saying, Stacks rampage sounds like Alex Jones. Get rid of him. Then it talks about Alex Jones and Infowars.com. What? New York Daily? What? Look at these headlines. Does Austin plane crash pilot's rambling suicide note sound a lot like Alex Jones? True slant. Here's The Guardian, biggest paper in England. Austin, Texas, paranoid politics central. Joseph Stack's views don't fit neatly into the partisan politics of the U.S., but Central Texas is where conspiracy theories take root. And the article mentions my name 5 times, 6 times. And in the New York Daily News and a bunch of others, who are they attacking? Alex Jones. They say these people are calling for violence, and Alex Jones is with them. First person the ADL comes after in Southern Poverty Law Center when they get that computer. Me. First person mainstream media comes after. Me. That's in this article. It's in Media Matters. The talking point is that I'm a cult leader. Am I dangerous? I mean, this is really declaring war on me and implying that I'm sending people out to attack the government. And the Southern Poverty Law Center put me in their big report saying that I'm calling for a shooting war with the government. Because, man, I was all over the national news just killing the cops. And they said the white supremacist kid loved me and did it because of me, basically. And I'll tell you right now, I don't appreciate the fact that Raw Story and the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette have decided to attack me in association with the shooting of the fatal shooting of 3 police officers. It's just ridiculous. They also attacked Glenn Beck. But then you read the Raw Story reports, it's all about me and Glenn Beck. It's from a new A&E show, FBI show, portrays 9/11 truthers as dope-smoking terrorists. This guy's buying grenade launchers to kill U.S. troops. All these national TV hosts saying 9/11 truthers are terrorists with no incidents, no evidence. Talking points have been put out saying that 9/11 truthers are terrorists and that we need to be put in camps. And magically, that flashbang grenade goes off and blows out a window. And Geraldo Rivera comes out and he says, I think it's 9/11 truth. And now other channels are saying it. Geraldo Rivera and others come out and say, yes, they're behind the bomb. No evidence. And he says, we've been violent in the past. No 9/11 truth group has ever been violent.
It's right in the middle of Times Square. It's perfectly located. So it is where, it's like a magnet for these crazy people, for anarchists. That's what I think this is. I think that this bomber isn't Al-Qaeda, isn't anything like that. He's more like, it's a man, he's more like those 9/11 was an inside job kind of guys. They protesting in a violent way, but in a violent way almost like the eco-terrorists, where they don't intend to inflict casualties.
So, what happens is, the media says Alex Jones was responsible for the violence. Then, perhaps violent people will think Alex is their guy. He's going to lead them to violence. Weak-minded people are always looking for leaders, someone to follow. So this takes the violent people, and it lures them in. Then they tune into Alex's show. He overloads their brain with conspiracies and psychological mind games, tells them not to be violent, and basically exhausts them and pacifies them. So it seems like this is one of the main reasons that the mainstream media promotes Alex Jones. It's so they can blame the violence on him and use him as the leader.
They want to distract everybody by making it all about Alex Jones. Now, again, this is ridiculous, and it shows how desperate the establishment is. They've chosen me as the poster boy to say, don't be like this nut, it's crazy. They've chosen me as the poster boy. They've chosen me as the poster boy. Just like Limbaugh was accused of causing Oklahoma City within 2 hours by Bill Clinton. Why? It's not Rush Limbaugh anymore. It's Alex Jones when this happens who gets blamed.
So, we know Alex Jones is praised by Bill Clinton, but what about George W. Bush? Alex Jones is well known for bashing George W. Bush. Let's hear what Alex Jones has to say about the Bush family.
But it's worse than what Kurt even puts in the story. It shows Bush, George W. with Clinton, another criminal. Bush acts like he's patting Clinton on the arm, and Clinton turns around, but he's rubbing the sweat or the snot or whatever it is off on Clinton's arm. And it just shows, if you know psychology, how sadistic and psychopathic and sociopathic Bush is, that even a former president of the U.S., one of his peers, he reaches over like he's being his friend, but he goes, ugh, and starts wiping it off on him. Again, it's just a window into the nastiness of George W. Bush, how sadistic and psychopathic and sociopathic Bush is. Lied about wars, lied about WMDs, tripled the size of government. And I'm not trying to be melodramatic here, ladies and gentlemen. Just Google maid dead at Bush's home, and you will find dead maids in Kennebunkport, dead maids in Houston, dead maids in Virginia, dead maids everywhere. I mean, they run them over in the parking lots. They kill them. They shoot them. Whoever's doing this. I mean, but the maid makes them mad. They end up deader than a doornail. There was a woman said that George W. Bush had raped her, and the word is in Texas he was incredibly wild back in his younger years, and she committed suicide a week later. And she said, I'm getting threats, and, you know, he raped me, and she was dead. And then you have the guy that wrote Fortunate Son right during the campaign about the alcohol, the drug abuse, things that are on record. But back then it was not known. And, man, he slit his wrist in that bathtub in Arkansas. I'll never forget Barbara Bush. It had to be 2002 on Larry King Live. We wrote an article on it. Barbara Bush on Larry King Live. He said, what do you think of the daughters? What do you think of them being in the news? And she said, if you talk about my family or mess with my family, I will kill you. And Larry King said, you're joking. And she got all weird face and went completely insane. She said, no, we will kill you. See, they're so corrupt, they're so evil, they can talk about how they'll kill people on television. George Bush was evil. George Bush enjoyed what he was doing. I mean, Bush radiated evil, radiated corruption. George Bush was a stinking puppet. The left woke up to Bush staging terror. It was okay to put up posters of Bush as a monkey or Bush as a vampire or Bush as the Joker. I didn't like Slick Willie. I didn't like George W. Bush. I didn't like George Bush's daddy. I didn't like any of these guys. But it's the same thing with George Bush. Texans were like, he's ours, Texas pride. He's scared of horses, scared of cows, never ridden a horse, wears a big cowboy hat and walks around in front of news cameras with a chainsaw. The guy's from Kennebunkport, Maine. Absolute blue blood. Families were Tories in the Revolutionary War against the United States. His granddaddy was a Nazi agent. The point is it's phony as a $3 bill. George W. Bush cannot lie. The CIA never lies. And of course, Bush and Cheney would have the interrogation videos taken to them to be watched at the White House night after night. I mean, especially the Abu Ghraib with the kids. Imagine they get to legally sit in there and watch kids being raped, their favorite thing. And Bush would start licking his lips and get that excited look and go, the professionals, oh, the professional. It's so professional to go in and torture and rape the children. See how but again, when you get into Satanism and black magic and evil, it's the openly announcing it in front of everyone. That's the highest level of enjoyment. And so that's why Bush would get up and, he'd get that little ninny look in his eye, because that's what psychos do. What did Terry Gilliam in Brazil, when the guy comes in to torture him, he's wearing a sickening, diseased baby face mask. Bush would kind of make that little baby, little ninny face, that little Glenn Beck face, the professionals, and he'd enjoy it, the professionalism of it all. Oh, we're so professional in our little lab coats and gloves, torturing people. Because under Bush, people knew he was disingenuous. He came off as demonic. He came off as a scam artist. He came off as dirty, as seedy. I didn't see that from Republicans who just couldn't admit Bush was conning them because he was a white guy and looked like them. We did a deeper study. George Bush he reincorporated Grim of the Stool. Tried. He has a special toilet. Don't believe me, just type President has portable toilet. Didn't matter then if he tortured kids. Didn't matter if they lied about WMDs. Didn't matter if they destroyed the Bill of Rights. They were committed to him. George Bush, who looked like Satan with his horns cut off. This is, I mean, because, you have this little demon Bush who even looks like a goblin and, and is obviously evil and does all, you see how it was scripted. George Bush just passed the baton to him. And because he doesn't come off like a complete demon, I mean, Bush just oozes evil, oozes corruption, oozes funkiness and bumbling stuttering. We spent all this time and energy exposing Bush as a criminal, as a liar, as wicked, as evil. They started paying for signs about 2 years ago that would just say, George W. Bush, our leader, like we were in North Korea or something. Vice President Dick Cheney in that wheelchair. And that's why you don't see him for months at a time, because the guy's had, 6 heart attacks when he's not out in hunting accidents, shooting people in the face. And then I apologize, you shot me in the face. And Obama brags that he does read the newspaper, and George Bush bragged that he didn't. And Obama brags that he does read the newspaper, and George Bush bragged that he didn't. George Bush is a mindless, petty, nobody puppet. George Bush drunk in the White House, the police state. George Bush drunk in the White House, the police state. No, George Bush ran nothing. George Bush was a puppet. That's what we're saying. He doesn't matter. But his policies are for total corporate raping of the population. George Bush is more socialist than any president we've ever had. He's just giving it all to the elite. And I understand that the Bush-Cheney crime syndicate is the worst expression in U.S. history of tyranny. There's nothing even close. I mean, this is Hitlerian. This is Hitlerian. This is Hitlerian. This is Hitlerian.
Wow. Alex Jones sure seems to hate George W. Bush, doesn't he? Now again, I found a very interesting clip from the Alex Jones show. Listen.
One time I was with Kevin Booth at his wife's birthday party at City Grill Steakhouse. And by then, I think, the twins had turned 21. And I come walking in. We come walking in and I see federal marshals at the door. And they said, "Hey, Alex, I'm a fan of your show. I was listening today." And I said, "What are you here for?" And he said, "I can't tell you. You'll probably notice. You'll probably understand." Well, guess what? Out of the big restaurant, they set us right next to the Bush twins, the daughters. They set us right next to the Bush twins. They set us right next to the Bush twins. They set us right next to the Bush twins, W's girls, and with these 2 heavy metal guys they were with. And they were drinking quite a bit. And they were drinking quite a bit. And they were drinking quite a bit. Kevin Booth goes, "I'm going to my car to get my video camera." And I grabbed him by the arm. I said, "Don't do it." And he kept getting up to go do it. And I said, "Kevin, these people just launched anthrax attacks on American media because they took photos of them drunk in Austin. And they attack all of George Bush's enemies, including the publisher that showed his daughters falling down drunk on each other. That's why people tried to come to me in Austin with all these horrid stories of the Bush daughters, and I'm like, I don't want to hear it. That's the one way I'd have a hit team come in here and kill me deader than a hammer. It's all personal with these global mafias. They almost enjoy me getting up here and telling you how you're slaves, now they're going to kill you. But don't mess with their little cockroach children, I'll tell you that right now. One time I was in a bar where they were falling down drunk. I was at a restaurant, they were falling down drunk. I was at a restaurant, they were falling down drunk. I was at a restaurant, they were falling down drunk. And Kevin Booth's like, "Let's get a camera out of the car." And I said, "Buddy, you want to sign your death warrant?" He says, "I'm getting it." And I grabbed him by the arm and I said, "No, you don't, buddy. And not because I'm scared of dying, but I'm going to die for something like exposing the New World Order. I'm not going to go up to the mobsters and punch them right in the nose. But don't mess with their little cockroach children, I'll tell you that right now. But don't mess with their little cockroach children, I'll tell you that right now. But don't mess with their little cockroach children, I'll tell you that right now."
So, George W. Bush is Psycho Hitler, and Alex Jones is getting drunk with his 2 cockroach daughters. Isn't this fun? So that's 2 US presidents we can connect Alex Jones to. What about Jimmy Carter?
How you doing, Mr. President? If I ask you a real quick question? A real quick question, if you don't mind? I was just wondering if you'd support the victims' family members that want a new investigation into 9/11, considering now we're...
Another investigation?
Yeah, into 9/11. Would you support it?
Your books are down there. Sir?
Yeah, I don't have anything to do with it, but I certainly would be. It'd be nice, folks.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
We know Jimmy Carter spoke out in favor of a new 9/11 investigation. Now, what does Alex Jones have to say about President Jimmy Carter? Let's listen.
Then they brought in Jimmy Carter, who literally was very, very ignorant about foreign affairs and a lot of other issues, and I believe overall meant well. By the way, Jimmy Carter came out and said that 9/11 should be investigated as a cover-up and that we don't know exactly what the truth is that happened with that. So that's good for Jimmy Carter.
And my other question was, I was curious, I've never heard you talk about Jimmy Carter and the Carter administration, because Jimmy, it seems to me anyway, that he tried to install a lot of policies like Ron Paul, but failed to do so.
No, he actually set up FEMA and did a lot of bad, because I know people that were in the Carter administration high level. He was a decent... Excuse me. Because I know people that were in the Carter administration high level. Because I know people that were in the Carter administration high level. Because I know people that were in the Carter administration high level. I've had a really bad allergies with this cedar pollen. Makes me cough a lot. Jimmy Carter was a front man. Jimmy Carter didn't know what was going on. Jimmy Carter was controlled by Zbigniew Brzezinski, who funded Pol Pot to kill 2 to 3 million people, and he brags about it in Cambodia. Jimmy Carter brought in a whole lot of bad stuff and was basically just used as a front man by the New World Order. And was basically just used as a front man by the New World Order. And was basically just used as a front man by the New World Order. Because I know people that were in the Carter administration high level.
So, Alex Jones knows people high level in the Carter administration. And Jimmy Carter has called for a new 9/11 investigation. Isn't this interesting? So that's President number 3 we can connect Alex Jones to. Now, what about Congressman Lloyd Doggett? This is Alex Jones confronting Lloyd Doggett.
Patty, and I don't appreciate Well, I don't appreciate your attitude, sir. You had the first time. You're welcome to come out and ask your questions. But all these other people have rights, too. I don't appreciate you abusing American citizens. You're abusing American... Don't you hit me. He tried to hit me. Don't you abuse American citizens. You're a CFR trash. You're selling this country out. We're going to stand against you. You remember that, buddy. We stand against you for the Constitution of the United States of America. Goodbye. Yeah, you got it. No, we're out here. Let's go. Where's the diamond? He tried to... You are a worm.
Here it is. He was pushing me right there, and then he acts like he was shaking that guy's hand. Unbelievable. Here's the rest of the annex. Then we'll go back over just a few more of his disgusting comments.
You never answered about Clinton and the missile technology, sir. You never answered about Clinton and the missile technology.
Please don't interrupt this gentleman. He's entitled
to... Answer about the missiles. Answer the question. Come on, let's go. Yeah, I'm not the threat. President Clinton is. I'm leaving, lady. I'm going to the radio for 4 hours tonight, every night. I'm out of here. You're in a controlled society. The information you're receiving is controlled. Conflagration's coming, smiley face slave. You're like the people that supported the Nazis, and you will pay. Let's go.
Wow. Alex Jones sure seems to hate Lloyd Doggett, doesn't he? Once again, though, I found something quite interesting from the Alex Jones show.
Lloyd Doggett meeting of Obamacare in South Austin Saturday. A huge crowd of Democrats booed him and completely shut him down. I went to school with his nephew. Doggett's a real piece of work. One time in high school, he even went over to Doggett's house because I was getting a ride home from school from his nephew, and he had to drop by there and bring something, and Doggett was walking around like a vampire in the front yard. Anyways, I'm so sick of him. One time in high school, he even went over to Doggett's house because I'm so sick of him. Doggett was walking around like a vampire in the front yard. I'm so sick of him.
So, just like Rick Perry, Lloyd Doggett is a real piece of work. And Alex Jones went to school with his cousin and went to Lloyd Doggett's house. Isn't this interesting? What's also interesting is how Alex Jones was associated with Lloyd Doggett from such a young age. This might suggest Alex Jones was groomed to be a government agent from a very young age as opposed to just selling out as soon as he got on the radio. Okay, so it appears in almost every case, whenever Alex Jones attacks a big politician, for some reason, Alex Jones always ends up having a connection to that politician. Isn't it so strange how that works? Now, you notice how cartoonish all of this is. Alex attacks these people in ridiculous ways to make the opposition look stupid. This is fake opposition.
They're all working together. They're all working together. They're all working together. When they all work on the same team. They're all on the same team. Team Rape and Loot You.
As we approach the end of this documentary, a serious point needs to be made. Alex Jones seems to genuinely admire the power elite, the ruling class, the billionaires. I mean, Alex Jones keeps telling people he is an enemy of the establishment.
And why am I the number one person fighting the New World Order? This is about defeating the globalists. And I'm consciously recognizing that they've blown their trumpets and announced that I'm one of their chief enemies. And I'm just so sick of the globalists and all the criminal activity they're carrying out. They can't believe this show's for real. They can't believe that I'm for real because they can't imagine someone with this, in this prominent of a fashion, would actually get up and fight these people if I actually believe they're as evil as I'm saying. Yes, they're as evil as I'm saying. Oh, I'm sick of tyranny. I want to defeat the New World Order. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't a joke. This isn't a game. This isn't a drill. This is toe-to-toe info war with the New World Order. I'm sorry, though. If it's part of the New World Order plan, I'm against it. If it's part of the New World Order plan, I'm against it.
So, Alex Jones claims to be anti-establishment, but then Alex Jones points out the government wants to pose as anti-establishment.
Well, that's what he said. Cass Sunstein, as you know, in that Harvard paper and others, said the mainstream media has no credibility. We've got to pose as anti-establishment to sell this stuff.
And you listen to Alex Jones talk about the elite. He seems to really admire them. He seems to really look up to them.
These people are geniuses. That's why they're in control. But see, the genius of the elite is as long as we're unconscious and always distracted by the latest flashy colors thrown up on our face by the peacock that's the New World Order. Oh, don't think the elite themselves are really preening and into all of that. That's why they all look like hell, the real elite, because they don't care what they look like. It's all about the mind. Their genius is they know we're innately terrified. You do have to hand it to them, though. These people really got their stuff together. They're bold, folks. That's why they're in control. They're bold and they're ruthless and they're evil. And they enjoy their work. They don't just do it cold-bloodedly. They enjoy it. It is jealousy, though. I mean, I want to be around successful people, dynamic people. I like successful, cool, smart people. I admire them, and I thought everybody else was like me, Bob. But I guess most winners do admire other winners. Losers can't stand it. I find that a lot of folks that are anti-New World Order, they're just mad at anybody who's successful, including the elite. They're just mad at anybody who's successful, including the elite. My God, these people are incredible. My God, these people are incredible. My God, these people are incredible. They're very bold. That's why they're in power. They take action, the people don't. They take action, the people don't. See, this is all going to be done through psychological warfare. These people are smart. It's why they're in control. These people are smart. It's why they're in control. These people are smart. It's why they're in control. You can attack the globalists, but one thing you got to give them is they are bold. They are cunning. They have amazing will. You got to give it to them. They are bold. They are cunning. They are ruthless. They are reckless.
And the reason they're in power is because the people are so stupid.
That's why they get away with murder, because they're dumb. They're in control because they're stupid. No, they're in control because they're smart and they're ruthless and people are gullible and are spectators and sit there and suck their thumbs all day. They're in power because they're ruthless. They're in power because they're ruthless, and we need to grow up and get serious. And we need to grow up and get serious. Why do you let them do all this to you? Why do you let them do all this to you? I mean, do you as the public like them laughing at you thinking you're stupid? Do you like being conned? Do you like being suckered along with all of this? We're like a broke back, toothless hooker with cigarette burns all over us with the pimp slapping us around, and that's all we know. Just stop being such schmucks, folks. Just stop being such schmucks, folks. Just stop being such schmucks, folks. We're known as the schmucks that'll take anything. I mean, you guys are complete and total Jim Jones, Kool-Aid drinking fool. You love to be suckered. And then I remember watching Real Class Reports and then watching Miss South Carolina, and I realized that Beavis and Butthead's report, which was meant to be an example of low-grade moron idiots, they were more eloquent and intelligent than the average person. And they know the average brainwashed person tuning in can't even understand what I'm saying. Of course it's all true. They See, that's why I was laughing earlier, was to show you how they're laughing at you.
Alex Jones keeps saying that people deserve what they get.
So it's also blowing their trumpet saying, look, we'll tell the world we're going to kill you. And look at these slaves. They won't even listen to you. I've had elitists tell me that. They go, Alex, you notice you lay all this out and the slaves don't care. They want to be slaves. They want to be slaves. They want to be slaves. And the public is loving it again. Oh, con us again. Take our bank accounts. America is known where the dumb idiot schmucks live that'll put up with anything and have never seen tyranny they don't love. We're poisoning the people for their own good because they're scum and they deserve it.
And the slaves want to be slaves. They love being scammed. They love being conned. They love it. They love it. They love it. Stop being so sappy and so weak and so passive and so trusting. And the public still says, hurt me more, hurt me, I love to be a schmuck, please hurt me. You know, you lose everything, but that's what you like. You like being a schmuck. You like being taken for a ride. You hadn't seen a sucker you don't want to suck on. And until we realize that we are known as the sucker, we are known as the idiots of the planet. They're like, oh, the nation of idiots. You mean those people that think they know it all and think they run it all and think they're invincible and think they're free. You mean those people. And Henry Kissinger calls the military dumb animals to be used, calls the police dumb animals. They think you're dumb animals. And in a way, you are. I mean, Kissinger writes books calling our military dumb animals to be used by the New World Order. And I don't think you're dumb animals, but, I mean, it is kind of, he is making a point that he can write that. And he knows you're not going to read it, or even if you do, your mind control is so strong that you're still going to follow the globalist order. They love lies. They love being hurt by the New World Order. They love being slaves. The state sees us as the enemy, and we are. We're the food. We're here to be fed on by the private corporate structure, and the public's so dumb, the corporate elites say, hey, they deserve it. So, okay, fine.
In fact, the whole thing may even be genetic. You were born to be a slave.
This is a nation of suckers born to be taken.
At the heart of it, they are social Darwinists. They're saying if we kill 1 billion people, since we are in the positions of power, that means genetically we got the power because we were the best, and so we're helping the earth by killing you. This is a religion of DNA. This is a eugenics cult. Everything is race. Everything is genetics to the New World Order. Everything is your genealogy and who you came from. I know, you're going to sit out and think you're going to be safe because you're born cowards and trash. You're born cowards and trash. You're born cowards and trash. Well, not me. Not me. Not me. I won't urinate all over my forebears. The New World Order won't even talk to you unless you've got a very, very high IQ and unless you've got bloodlines that go back into their bloodline. I've also been told by top globalists that they enjoy hearing about how evil they are. The New World Order won't even talk to you. I've also been told by top globalists, the New World Order won't even talk to you. I've also been told by top globalists, you probably had cowardly forefathers. A lot of this is genetic, who wakes up and who doesn't. And at a certain level, the elite are right. And at a certain level, the elite are right. And at a certain level, the elite are right. I want to wake up people that are ready to be woken up.
These schmucks are born to take it. Let's take everything. These schmucks are born to take it. Let's take everything. These schmucks are born to take it. Let's take everything.
They were born to be scammed. They were born to be defrauded. They want it.
So the elite are so smart and the public is so dumb, but Alex Jones would never join the elite, no.
Oh, I'm so thankful that I was not taken by the New World Order. I'm so thankful that I woke up. Oh, I'm so thankful that I was not taken by the New World Order. I'm so thankful that I woke up. I've got a good enough brain, and I've studied history to see their entire program. And let me tell you, it's unbelievable. I mean, to be able to know what they know, but I'm a good guy instead of a bad guy. I mean, to be able to know what they know, but I'm a good guy instead of a bad guy. I could have easily been one of them because I know how they think. I could have easily been one of them. I could have easily been one of them. I've met with major CEOs, biggest Hollywood people there are, you know, just huge. And I always have done this, you know, as a quote journalist. They say this is off record. People know I don't ever break off the record meetings. And they go, Alex, you try to warn them. And look, some listen, most don't. They want to be slaves. They want to die. You know, join us. You're smart. You're good. You know, that's the sales pitch. Is that the slaves don't want to be free. But I've had them offer me millions of dollars and promise more if I'd sell out. Folks, either you get sucked into goodness or you get sucked into evil. You're going to serve one of them. I've had other people contact me and say, listen, the public scum, they're a bunch of trash, a bunch of backstabbing garbage. They will destroy you. You need to join us. You're one of us. They will destroy you. You need to join us. You're one of us. Oh, he's a big liar. He's a government agent lying to us. Regardless of who I am, if you haven't been noticed, I'm a good guy. Regardless of who I am, if you haven't been noticed, I'm a good guy.
You see, the elite are only filling up a position. If they didn't do it, somebody else would.
That's the excuse in the 1980s of shipping the crack cocaine in was, well, if we don't ship it in, somebody else will. Well, if we don't ship it in, somebody else will. Well, if we don't ship it in, somebody else will. Let's say they teach you the Machiavellian view, the end justifies the means. So the world's so evil, the world's so tough. Alex, you just can't handle the truth. We've got to bring the narcotics into the country because if we don't, some other nation will get control of that. People are always going to want drugs. What elite wouldn't do this? What elite wouldn't do this? What elite wouldn't do this? That's why they're on top. That's why they rule. Because they're the most evil. And they just snicker. Or they act sad and go, well, you just don't know the law of nature, do you? We're just doing something inevitable. If we didn't act like this, somebody else would.
And it's so important to control the people in a hierarchy because it's about survival of the species. We could be extinct at any time.
I've sat around many times at events and talked to high-level globalists who say, Jones, is this off the record? Yes, it's off the record. Yes, I hear you're a man of your word. Well, let me just tell you. Of course things are the way you say, but that's the way it is. The public are even more vicious than us, and we have to be corrupt just to keep them in check. Your so-called supporters would chew you into pieces in a matter of minutes, is basically the line. And to discover all of this and to find out that a lot of intelligentsia, a lot of money, a lot of smart people I talk to, go, Alex, we know, we're joining it. It's the only way to survive.
And you listen to Alex Jones, he seems to blame the problems on local corruption. It's the wolves. It's the out-of-control society. They're the ones you need to watch out for, not the elite.
And my dad told me that growing up. He said, you got to watch the little thugs. You got to watch the little local boss hogs. And that's true. They're the ones that are scared of you. See, because I can take on Hays County and probably get a lot of them in jail. So they're dangerous. I can take on Travis County and Austin. That's why in my own backyard, I don't mess with the locals too much. I still expose them and things, but I'm not out charging in to mess with the locals because they're the type that'll give you cement shoes.
And Alex Jones says, I don't have anywhere to go if things fall apart. But the elite do. Alex Jones wouldn't want to join the elite, would he? He wouldn't want to be protected.
All of the elites in the last 4 years, they've all left. Okay? They have left to the Cook Islands. They have left to the Bahamas. They have hired security details with automatic weapons guarding them. You understand? They're going to sit offshore while they fully implode us. Do you understand?
Well, I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I don't have anywhere to go. This is all I've got to this country.
And then we listen to Jones. He keeps talking about all these globalists he talks to.
I was talking to one of the wealthiest women in America, found out that she owned a defense contractor company and all this other stuff. And she knew because she's up there at the higher echelons and also lives in New York at the time and understood how real this was. I had David de Rothschild, heir to the entire Rothschild fortune, the son of Lord Rothschild, taken over all his companies on 3 years ago. And he said, Alex, there is no plan for a global carbon tax. I'm told from high-level sources that actually a lot of globalists listen to this show because they enjoy it. They like it. There's somebody out there telling them what's being done to you. So we called Barnett. I called him during a break, and I said, why don't you come on? He said, I'm not going to grace and give validity to anything you say. I'm not coming on your show. And I said, your New World Order will be defeated. We're going to stop world government. And he's just like, keep on praying. Keep on hoping, and cackled like a witch. And I said, I commit before God we're going to defeat you. And he just went, yeah, and hung the phone up. I mean, you get on the phones with these guys and say, we're going to defeat global government. We're going to defend the republic. And they're just, keep on dreaming.
Isn't it just funny? Alex Jones keeps bumping into all these globalists.
The point is that you do run in these circles, and every time I am around someone of your caliber, it is the same thing. Whether it's at a cocktail party or at the State House or anywhere, it's the same story. They come over and they say, Alex, there are too many people, whether you like it or not. They're a bunch of lazy slobs. There's a disdain for the public. And by the way, I know quite a few billionaires. And by the way, I know quite a few billionaires. Because I know a lot of big money. And I know people that know a lot of big money. I mean, billionaires. So I said, why are you coming on here? Well, I mean, you know who I am. You know I'm against you. He said, well, we just want to try to convince you that we're just normal people and that our plan for globalization is what's needed. And we're interested in understanding you, Mr. Jones.
We've already had number 3 in the Blair government, Michael Meacher. I flew to London to interview him 3 years ago. It's in Terror Storm. Say it's an inside job. Number 3 in the Blair government, Michael Meacher. Say it's an inside job.
And the globalists are protecting Alex Jones.
I don't have any delusions of grandeur. I know they could smash me flatter than a pancake, do a bloody mess.
I'll tell you about the Delta Force, the federal government's hit squads who murder whoever they want, whenever they want. Let me explain. They don't need to go out and hire hit teams. They have hit teams in every city, okay? Government gives the order, you die. They'll kill anybody they want, whenever they want. And this country still has a lot of freedom. It still has a lot of good people in government. There's a reason I'm still on the air. There's a reason I haven't been killed. There's a reason. God's protecting me, but also there are a lot of good people in the system, and they're finally waking up like the population. They're just like everybody else. It still has a lot of good people in government. They're just like everybody else. It still has a lot of good people in government. They're just like everybody else. We have a lot of friends in government and in companies and corporations, the military, the police. They know this is true more than anybody else. We have a lot of friends in government. Now, listen, we got people everywhere. In government everywhere, and the military, the police, and our numbers are growing. Our people are growing exponentially. They're everywhere.
And the globalists trust Alex Jones. Alex Jones has gained their trust. They can share secrets with Alex Jones. They're so cozy together.
The only reason I'm still alive is because I don't go out a lot and do a lot, and because I'm a somewhat moral person. According to New World Order standards, extremely moral, monk-like, in that I am dedicated. I am clean. Because the establishment taps my phones, and they've assessed me, and they've got my psychological profile, and they know I'm a good person. And I'm for real. And they know I don't cheat people, and I don't lie about people, and I don't do dirty tricks, and I don't hurt people. And they've assessed me, and they know I'm a good person. And they've assessed me, and they know I'm a good person.
And you, the idiot general public, you are never going to get Alex Jones's sources. Only the chosen people can talk with the globalists.
I hold back quite a bit of information because I don't think the public's ready for it. You don't want to know what I really think about things, folks. And I now have top globalist, and I am a reporter. That's one of the hats I wear. So when a globalist calls me up and says, I want to talk to you off record, they only call me because it's off record. Some people go, well, you need to say who they are. Those are little tricks they use. Oh, tell us who your sources are. Yeah, I'm going to tell you who my sources are. They'd have to put me on the rack. They'd have to torture me to find out who my sources are. I'll never give up my sources because I'm an honorable person, A, and B, I would lose my sources. But now I've got high-level globalists calling me up. I can't believe Thursday a high-level globalist wants to come here and meet with me. It's not just confidence. It's the confidence of knowing you're right, knowing you're on the right side of history. I've got high-level globalists calling me up, knowing you're on the right side of history. I'll never give up my sources, and they know I'm a good person. You don't want to know what I really think about things, folks. I've got high-level globalists calling me up, knowing you're on the right side of history. I'll never give up my sources, and they know I'm a good person. You don't want to know what I really think about things, folks.
But it's not because Alex Jones is an arrogant snob. It's because he's doing his duty as a leader for the species. He is selflessly protecting you for your own good. He has the strength and he has the willpower. Our society is sick, but he is good. He is moral. He is your guardian. It's so heroic.
I really care about what I'm doing. And so I get the stardom you so crave. And you don't get it because you're not in this for the right reasons. And I just love humanity. I just like good guys, creative people. I love honorable people. I hate scum. I hate traitors. I hate bullies. Yeah, there's always thugs and crooks that try to take control of society. And so if good people aren't involved defending their liberties, you will have them stolen. It's easy to be evil, fools. It's hard to be good. With people who think you're a baby and you're the child and the state has to lie to you for your own good. Now listen.
And the state has to lie to you for your own good. Now listen.
The truth is, I've hung out with people you wouldn't believe. The truth is, I've seen things you wouldn't believe. The truth is, because I took action against the New World Order, and most people were too timid to do it, it's taken me to very high mountains. I've been taken up to the mountain and offered great power by the system. But because I was offered the great power, I realized it was crap. It meant nothing. It means nothing. Money means something if your car isn't running and you can't feed your family. It's very important up to that point. Once you're comfortable, it means nothing. What matters is that you're an honorable person and that you help other people and that you understand you're part of the species and part of a continuum and that there's evil that has to be faced. That's what will fulfill you. You're not fulfilled because you aren't tuned into reality. I don't know, I'm just changing as a person where I almost enjoy taking the blame. I almost enjoy being hated because I understand that spirit of being humble is really not even the strongest spirit, even though it is. It's just that's what I was meant to be. That I'm home now. I've always been a good-natured person. Like, you say, oh, that dog's a good-natured old dog. I'm a sweet person. And I always grew up thinking everybody was like me. Everybody was sweet and loving and had a big heart. And they don't, ladies and gentlemen. We're a very sick society. You think you're so tough. You think you know what power is. You think you know what evil is, little boys. And you don't. You don't have the mental strength to defend the republic. You don't have the mental strength.
The globalists will decide what you think, and you will play along with it.
It's like Karl Rove told the New York Times, we control reality. And we'll change reality next week and you'll believe it. We're history's actors now.
And the whole thing is really just a big joke. It's about having fun, playing with the public. But Alex Jones never does that.
I've actually found that a lot of people who find out about how humans operate, that find out psychological tricks, who get trained by government and industry and PR and propaganda, it is my experience that a lot of people, when they find this out, get a sense of satisfaction and they laugh about it and they enjoy it and they write books about it and they celebrate feeding on people and dumbing people down and using their ignorance to control them,
Princess Diana told everybody that Prince Charles told her face to face, I'm going to kill you in a fake auto accident.
Using their ignorance to control them. This tells us a lot about the globalists. They're very intelligent, but they're also psychopathic. I've got high-level globalists calling me up. They're very bored. This is, what all these aristocrats having too much time on their hands turns into. I've got high-level globalists calling me up, and this is what they giggle and snicker about in their little secret meetings. I've got high-level globalists calling me up, and they think their revelation of the method is funny.
And once you join the elite, you are above the law.
And as they burn the local boss hog police, but they never burn the big boys. Government officials live in these lavish homes right off the beach or in the gorgeous, it's the most beautiful place in the world. Then the public, because it was supposedly a parkland, are supposed to be able to hike in there. The police arrest you. They go, this is ours, get out of here.
Right.
So they're actually seizing their own little fiefdoms. If you're a multimillionaire or a billionaire, there are almost no investigators for you. They've cut them down to nothing. And they put the investigators not on middle class people making $100,000 a year. They put the fraud investigators on blue collar, people making $20,000 a year. Because again, crooks run the system. They're going to grab every American around the throat, no matter how poor you are, how rich you are, and they're going to squeeze money out of you, except for the ruling elite who are exempt from all their own laws,
And the whole thing is such an exciting adventure.
Man, my life's a spy movie, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not a spy. I wasn't trained to do this. So we don't stand up and fight these creatures, just for fun. We do this because we know that there's no other choice. And it is the best feeling and the most fulfilling thing in the world to just gut up, get past the fear, then you won't have it anymore. Once you go through fear, it's right. Gone. And it is animating, the animating contest of liberty. You aren't living. Bungee jumping, you're not going to find this exhilaration. Partying, having sex, doing drugs, getting drunk. None of that is going to fulfill you. Being rich, being powerful, nothing is going to fulfill you like helping others and knowing what's going on in the world.
Because Alex Jones is so special, he gets to see all the secret technology.
They dole out the advanced technologies. They're 30 years ahead of what they're showing you at least. God knows what they've already got off planet.
And I've got that from high-level NASA engineers that are retired who literally start shaking when they tell me about it. But I don't get into all the stuff you can't handle. That you're not ready to hear, okay? I'm getting close, though. Yes, folks, we are in a frozen technological level. They're already off-world big time. There's space planes, space stations, everything.
And of course, being such an important person, Alex Jones gets all the most attractive women.
I've been in New York and had literal Russian spies there trying to put, number 10 blondes on me. And it's not that Alex Jones is special. It's that there are really spies and intelligence people going all over the place, operating all the time, and the general public just doesn't know this. They don't understand this. So you're hanging out with the Crown Prince, and you're telling me you were in a capillary sub-meeting of Bilderberg, because I know they have those, or well, I know you're not supposed to say. You're just letting me know you were in the area.
All I can say, I was in the area, and many of the people that were there and are members are, in fact, people that I converse with on a regular basis.
Now, I noticed that big palace with 3 hotels they shut down was right off the bay with all the yachts. Yeah. So I guess you were back and forth.
The yachts are great.
What about, what's on them is even better, huh? Well, power brings money. Power brings sex. It brings it all. Well, power brings money. Power brings sex. It brings it all. They're lawless criminals. I saw an AP report that they're putting up signs all over D.C. saying this is a prostitution-free zone. I thought it was already illegal there. Truth is, most of them are using them. They're all over the streets. I was just there a few months ago. Hookers everywhere. You ought to see Georgetown, the elite areas. The Watergate Hotel, we were going there to do an interview. Hookers everywhere. Executive limousines pulling up a Secret Service saying, turn your cameras off. Turn the cameras off, hookers get out. Hookers everywhere. I mean, I've been in D.C. quite a few times, and I've gone to events. We went to just shoot video of the Watergate when I was there a few months ago to cover Bilderberg, and there was just perfect 10 hookers walking around everywhere. Just really gorgeous women. The creme de la creme of America, all paid for with defense contractor money and others, which again is tax money. And you also saw all these, military-type guys going up in and out. That's what the congressman liked particularly. So you saw the male prostitutes, and you saw the female prostitutes, and they're just everywhere. And then we went to a restaurant in Georgetown, eat Italian food, and there were hookers coming into the bar and Mercedes pulling up with Secret Service to put them in and drive them off. I mean, just hookers everywhere. I mean, this is the type of corruption we're talking about. I mean, you're literally, when you're in the nice part of towns in New York or in D.C. or in L.A., there are just hookers everywhere. All the beauty queens, it's all there. The most beautiful ones aren't even in porn, folks. They are just $2,000, $3,000 an hour hookers. Now, I'm getting off into this instead of covering the fact that we have these same bankers totally imploding the economy right now. The point is, Washington is so corrupt that these guys don't trust you until you have gone to these meetings and wallowed in the sex, the drugs, the gambling. I've got high-level globalists calling me up. In the sex, the drugs, the gambling. I've got high-level globalists calling me up. That's another way they pay these congressmen off. They show up at these hotel rooms and private retreats and resorts in and around D.C. and Chantilly and areas of Maryland and D.C. itself, and they go, oh, Congressman, here's $25,000 in chips. I've got high-level globalists calling me up. And these guys will go every night and get totally drunk with the lobbyist with free chips. I've got high-level globalists calling me up. And then they like to go right upstairs. They purchase the hookers with the chips. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's how this is done. Like, we even got some video of the hookers last time we were in D.C. We got some shots of them getting in and out of the cars from the back. This kind of stuff gets you killed, but it's just unbelievable. Can you imagine how that corrupts these cops? Free, money, whores, everything. Because the low-level people are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and all the free hookers they can imagine and free jet trips everywhere. Being clean, not that I'm perfect. I drink and smoke and I try to quit all the time, but I'm weak. But the point is that I got all these women, literally, folks, and most of them are probably government, just throwing themselves at me. And I know that, number one, I wouldn't get my work done. Number two, most importantly, I'm married and love my children and my family. But number 3 or 4, morals have been developed and designed because it's what makes you straight and strong and focused. But the general public is all animalistic down. I mean, I'm more into the stars and space and the mysteries of the universe and working with and helping others. I get a bigger thrill out of that. And so you can't buy me off. You can't buy me off with sex, money, power. You can't threaten me to back off, because who I am and being good and being a good sentient creature is more important to me than all the treasure in the world, which is all a bunch of crap. I got all these women, literally, folks, and most of them are probably government, just throwing themselves at me.
I mean, listening to Alex Jones, I get the impression he is really trying to sell you on joining the elite. This is a recruitment operation.
They're now going to try to recruit you. That's why you hear CIA ads on radio and TV. They go, listen, the slaves don't care. They want to be slaves. Yeah. And you ought to join us. Protecting the country's security is a tough, mean, dirty, nasty business, he said. You got to work on the dark side. Remember that quote from Cheney? You got to work on the dark side sometimes. These are evil people. It takes one to know one, doesn't it? It takes one to know one, doesn't it? It takes one to know one, doesn't it? We need people to be bold. Fortune favors the bold. You can attack the globalists, but one thing you got to give them is they are bold. We need people to be bold. You see how this is being set up? Are you smart enough to get this, new listeners? I think you are. I've tried to recruit other people. I've tried to find other hosts I could promote. They usually turn into egomaniacs and have mental problems. They can't handle the power. And so I can't do it all is my problem. Same thing here. Oh, no, the federal government is you. It listens to you. You need to work through it. That's why Rothkopf, the head of the Kissinger Group, came on this show trying to sell me on world government. So, see, they'll try to sell you individually, but then meanwhile say, it doesn't exist, but we need world government. They'll try to sell you individually. But what we need is good, loving people to be strong and put their love into action and not be misdirected by the New World Order that manipulates good people into aiding their agenda by claiming that the globalists have good aims. I've got high-level globalists calling me up that the globalists have good aims. I'm optimistic, as dark as things are, because I also know people in the elite structure themselves are becoming upset with what's happening and seeing their plan come to fruition. A lot of them are 2 or 3 generation, and, it's alluring to them to want to come over to the light side. It's very lonely for them. I mean, I can't even hardly do this show anymore. It's not that I don't want to fight. It's not that it's not a great honor to fight. It's that it's so ridiculously obvious. I mean, this whole world government is just out in the open. I've got high-level globalists calling me up. It's that it's so ridiculously obvious. I've got high-level globalists calling me up. I mean, this whole world government is just out in the open. And I know I don't even do the best job exposing it. Where are all you clean-cut yuppies I see riding up 360, up hills, perfect shape, getting out at the hike and bike trail out of your brand new BMWs? Your cars are totally clean. You're totally well-spoken. You've got your crap together. Your wife looks absolutely perfect. Your kids are all well-behaved. I mean, why don't you care enough to find out about all this? It's just too many people are sitting by and counting on those of us in the front lines to keep carrying this on. They don't realize we need them to join us in the front lines. I've got high-level globalists calling me up. We need them to join us in the front lines, not behind us, but right beside us. Well, it actually is the coolest thing you can be. You know, I mean, that's what all Hollywood, the government heads are into. What do the elite think of you and I? I mean, I know I've talked to some of them and they've laughed and said, look, the public scum, they want to be destroyed. Let them, join us. Ha ha ha. Join us. Ha ha ha. Join us. Ha ha ha. I mean, that's kind of the attitude. They don't have to play by rules. And they know that most intelligent people who can figure this out decide to go join the system because they get scared. And they say, well, I can't beat them. I'll join them. I'll just go serve the system. And that's what the elite say. They say, oh, you understand it, so you're one of us. Don't, those idiot scum down there, they don't want your help anyways. And in many respects, that's true. Most intelligent people who can figure this out decide to go join the system. I can't beat them. I'll join them. I'll just go serve the system. They say, oh, you understand it, so you're one of us. And in many respects, that's true. And let me tell you, it is not pretty. And it takes a strong heart and mind to be able to focus on it. Because when you stare into the enemy operation, you see the design of not just their control grid, but of the entity, of the intelligence, of the group collective of sociopaths and psychopaths and hyper-competitive control freaks that run this system. And when you look into their system, you notice they're looking right back at you. And they're saying, why don't you join us? They say, why don't you join us? And they say, because you are flawed and emotional and sentimental, and you have a persecution complex. And you think dying for these people is going to help you. The only way you carry your genetics forward is to join with us. You must join with us or you will be destroyed.
Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, listening to Alex Jones, you almost get the impression he's trying to recruit people into the elite. He talks about all his sources, how the elite trusts him, how he's a man of honor. Listen to how Alex glamorizes his life. He gets smoking hot women jumping on him. He gets money. He gets fame. He gets respect. He knows the smartest people, and he's doing it all to protect the species, to have honor. He recognizes his God-given role to be a leader and to get all the power and status that comes with it. If I were to make a bet, I would say Alex Jones has 3 agendas. The first is to micromanage the libertarian movement and to make sure they get behind fake conservatives. The second agenda is to make sure they don't carry out violence. The third agenda is to find people who can understand how this all works and recruit them into the establishment. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this documentary. I hope you found it informative. Bye-bye.